Coming to you from the Blue Crew Studios in Temecula, California, it's the Whiskey Throttle Show, bringing you inside the lives and careers of industry leaders and legends pushing forward in action sports. Yamaha has been setting the standard in two-wheel and four-wheel fun for decades. Yamaha is always out front innovating and focused on reliability and performance. Join the Blue Crew today. Get yourself a Yamaha. The Whiskey Throttle Show is presented by Motorsport.com. There's no need to even leave your home anymore if you need gear, you need parts, you need products, anything around your riding and racing hobbies. Go to Motorsport.com, order it up online, and it will be quickly and conveniently shipped right to your home without even leaving your driveway. Get over to Motorsport.com and make your next ride your best ride. Troy Lee Designs is the leader in off-road motocross apparel and style. So whether you're looking for a cool new paint job for your helmet, maybe your name and number on your helmet lettered on, you're looking for new gear, you're looking for mountain bike gear, off-road gear, they've got the brand new Scout line in GP and SE models. Troy Lee Designs has it all. They've been leading this industry for decades, and they're going to continue to do it. Rockform, creators of the world's strongest magnetic phone case. They have mounts for your car, motorcycle, and bicycle, as well as universal mounts to adhere your phone to any surface. They also have screen protectors, power banks, stands, chargers, and more. And don't forget the G-Rock wireless golf speaker. Magnets adhere this powerful speaker to your cart, or any metallic surface for that matter, so you have tunes while you golf, work, or hang out. Rockform, always innovating the phone case market. Rockwell designs all their sunglasses in their U.S. headquarters in Utah. Then they are manufactured in Italy using the strictest craftsmanship standards, ensuring you get the best pair of sunglasses you've ever owned. From men's and women's designs, floatable, alloy frame, and a UV 400 rating, which blocks out 100% of UV rays, Rockwell has everything you need for you and your family. Use our code WT20 for 20% discount at checkout at rockwelltime.com. The Whiskey Throttle Show is proud to partner with El Jefe Energy. Whether we're throwing a leg over a bike to go riding or covering Supercross races and nationals, El Jefe keeps us firing. Early mornings at the track, long motos, or late nights wrenching in the garage, El Jefe brings the goods and 200 milligrams of caffeine to the party. Visit eljefe.com to check out all the flavors they have available, or go to your local convenience store and pick up a can. El Jefe Energy is fuel for the fearless. Hey, thanks for joining us here in the Blue Crew studio today, guys. We've got a great guest. I snuck this guy all the way out here from Ohio. Luckily, he was out visiting a national, but it's former Supercross champion and motocross legend, Gary Semics. Gary, thanks for coming.
Hey, it's great to be here, man. Thanks.
It's great to have you on the Whiskey Throttle Show. I mean, we talked about it a long time ago, and I just said, well, if you ever get this way, hit me up. And you're like, hey, I happen to be coming out.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you got a hold of us. And you were at Hangtown this weekend, this past weekend, so I want to kind of pick your brain on a little bit of what you thought. But we start with our motorsport.com gate drop, guys. Anything you guys need, get over to motorsport.com and pick it up. They'll send it right to you. No need to even leave the house. It's great. So I guess give me your breakdown on Hangtown and kind of what you saw, things that stood out or impressed you.
Yeah, I mean, it's great being there. There's a group that I used to race with, mechanics and riders, that always get together up there, and they've been trying to get me to go. So I finally went, and, man, seeing those guys just brought me – it was like we never left each other, and some of them I hadn't seen for 30 years.
Is that right?
Yeah, so that was great. And the racing, we had really good access to a lot of places to get in, to have, drinks, food under the tent. That was great. And then when the racing started, I usually go to High Point, so I'm kind of familiar with what's going on when you're there at the track, so much different than watching it on TV. And it was fantastic. And seeing the speed that these guys have now, it's pretty awesome. And there was, obviously, if you've seen it on TV or whatever, there's a lot of carnage, especially in the first corners.
Yeah, that first turn, I think they slowed it down to make it safer, but we still had a pile up anyway.
Yeah.
Nothing safe about this sport.
No, you never know.
You can try all you want. I know a lot of what you do now is coaching and riding technique. Back half of your career, that was kind of what you really were known for. But I wanted to pick your brain on what you thought of technique and how it's evolved over the years. Like what we consider perfect now. And I would look at a Jet Lawrence and a Hunter Lawrence and go, that's pretty nice. Like hard to really find a knock on those guys.
Right.
But then you can go back and look at like even Tomac, I would say is a style that isn't textbook. Villopoto, slid the rear around and steered with the throttle a lot. It wasn't textbook.
Right. Even Carmichael.
Carmichael wasn't textbook.
No.
I think a Johnny O, real rounded back, like he wasn't. So it's like there is a best way to do it, I think, but there's also, it doesn't mean if you don't do it that exact way that you can't be successful.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that and kind of where you see it now and going?
Yeah, that's one big evolutionary point in motocross is the technique, the style of riders changing. And like you said, the Lawrence brothers, especially Jet, have a whole new kind of style of how smooth and light they can be on the bike. And the control of the bike, putting it right where they want it and making it look easy, that's just something that I think is newer. I mean, Jean-Michel Bale was special like that. I think Ron Lachine was special like that. Even Marty Trice, but he had a different style. And I don't know how you can say things to improve that right now. It's cutting edge.
I don't either, yeah.
Yeah. Villopoto started, he was one of the guys in Zach Osborne that started with the real straight back all the time. Even if they were back on the bike, standing or sitting, their back was always real straight. Sexton is another rider like that now. So that was a lot newer than, say, the 70s and even the 80s, where the style was the rounded back.
Yeah.
If you had in the 70s, if you rode with a straight back, and a few people did, it was like, what? That ain't right, man. That don't look right. I think the rounded back helped us get further back on the bike, which you had to do to keep the thing straight. And you could lower your center of gravity in corners by doing that too.
Gotcha.
So that was more of the style back then.
It's interesting. The bikes actually affected how you had to ride them and the technique, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know I did some vintage racing 8 or 10 years ago, and getting back on those old 74 bikes with 4 inches of travel, I realized, you got to be stronger to ride these things.
Is that right?
Than the newer bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took more physical strength because you were part of the suspension. You were part of making the bike work and do what you needed it to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I mean, I think that it's more understanding technically how to move it. And like we talked about Jet's, perfect kind of body positioning all the time and being very light. But it's also processing speed, I think, because they are going so fast.
Right.
Those bikes being so tractable with all the torque and then just having so much horsepower at their fingertips all the time and the better suspension. Like there's nothing holding them back, right? Other than how fast you can process things coming at you.
Exactly.
And I think with Jet and Hunter and these guys that are at that very high level, that's the difference. They're just able to mentally process what's coming at them and
react to it.
Yeah, react to it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. That sensory perception is what I call it. So you're using all of your senses, from the feeling of everything to your sight, perception of speed, with that feeling, with controlling all 5 controls of the motorcycle simultaneously. And that perception and feeling of everything, and you're reacting to it so quickly. And now you don't have to move very much to control the bike. You can stay in more of that rider compartment where you have control from that rider compartment. And it's a matter of reacting to what you're feeling real quickly,
but
and not making any mistakes, right?
Yeah, and Jet just makes it look like, you're watching him on TV, you go, man, it's just easy. It doesn't even look like he's going that fast.
Yeah.
He's going so fast.
He is.
But it's like, it reminds me of, The Matrix, where Keanu Reeves, the bullets are coming at him, and he's just doing this. It's like to him, that speed is no big deal.
That's a good analogy. And being at the track, like I was last weekend here, just 2 days ago, you can see how fast he's going. I mean, he's serious speed.
When you stand there and watch him go by, it's incredible. And then if you're actually on the track and you see the ruts and the bumps that he's negotiating, you're like,
it's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the trick is you can help people with technique, but how do you help them speed up their processor? How do you, I don't know if, I think that some of that may be just genetic.
It is. I believe it's just genetics, and you either have that ability or you don't. And I think you have a certain level of talent for that ability, and I don't think you're going to get past that.
Yeah.
I mean, to ride at your highest potential is when everything's going just right and you're having a really good day. And some other riders just have a higher potential.
Yeah,
of that.
like a bigger processor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I never, I always thought, I know with hard work, you can always be there, but I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
I think there's nature and nurture here involved, and if it's like a cyclist who just has a crazy high VO2 max.
Right.
Unless you're doping, I just don't know how a guy with a lower VO2 max can compete. It's just what you're genetically
I
predispositioned for.
I agree. Just like weightlifting, bodybuilding,
Yeah.
you have the genetics, or you don't.
Yeah. So, I just tell people because some people get mad at Jet just winning everything, and I go, just enjoy it. Because what you're seeing is it's pretty incredible, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And he's doing it with a lame foot. He's doing it with one foot.
I know. That's what's scary, man. When he gets back to 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. Anyway, I just wanted to pick your brain on technique. And kind of what you said is interesting about how the technique had to evolve, and why the rounded back early on. It makes sense. Because you really had to ride off the back of the bike and keep the front wheel light back then.
Yeah, in many rough sections. Because it wanted to swap with you, Now the suspension's so good. If you get it dialed in, that doesn't happen unless you make a big mistake, obviously.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, guys, get over to WhiskeyThrottleClub.com if you haven't checked it out. $5 a month gets you code reds, hang times, electronic ping, gear up videos, and our Après Moto call-in line, discount codes, training videos from our Elevate platform. It's crazy. There's a ton of stuff. Our guest, his story is brought to you today by Yamaha. If you guys have not been down to your local Yamaha dealer and seen the bikes that have been winning every shootout, both championships here in 2026 in the 250 class, it's there. It's ready for you, and it looks like we got all new 250 coming from Yamaha, which is going to be exciting. So check that out. Join the Blue Crew. Also, get over to their Blue Crew Invitational page if you are on a 65, 85, or a 125. One of the coolest experiences ever. Get to one of those events. There's one in Budds Creek this summer, one in Monster Mountain in Alabama, and then the finale will be the Motocross of Nations in France, which you will be invited to if you qualify. So pretty cool. Okay, Lisbon, Ohio, born and raised, or no?
Not born, but when I was 7, we moved there from a suburb of Youngstown, McDonald.
Okay.
Yeah.
What year was that? What year were you born back then?
54.
54.
Yeah.
So how much has it changed, that area?
Lisbon hasn't changed a whole lot. It has a lot of history to it.
Okay.
Like the house that we moved into was actually a big log home that used to be a stagecoach stop.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and it was built in 1803.
Jeez.
So my dad wanted to be a bigger farmer, so we moved there, 100 acres, and he was iron worker and farmer.
Okay. Hardworking guy.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, I guess it's interesting to me, being a West Coast guy. I've lived in Montana, Arizona, and California here. It's a different world because we've changed so much in the last 30, 35 years, where the East Coast was kind of already developed a bit more.
For
so
sure.
It probably hasn't changed as much.
In some places, it's changed dramatically, obviously, but in other places, it's a history. People don't want change.
No.
They want to keep it like that. And I don't really agree with that, but
some things need to evolve, but there was just property. All the property was bought up earlier back then, and so it's all privately owned. Where there's still open land, a lot of open land here, and that gets sold off, and developers, it's just still developing and being filled out. So Temecula, for example, here, I mean, it's unrecognizable from 30 years ago. You remember? I mean, you were here in the 90s with Jeremy.
Yeah, I lived here for 14 years before that.
Did you?
Yeah.
So you've seen it. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you come into town, you're like, what in the world?
Can't even recognize it anymore.
No. But it seems like that. So that's why I wanted to ask. It seems like the East Coast, just because it is quite a bit older than everything out here, the change hasn't been as dramatic.
In certain places it has, though. Like, we have a second home in Clayton, North Carolina. It's a little bit south of Raleigh, which we go there in the winter to get out of the freezing cold weather. And it happens to be the fastest growing city in the United States right now.
Yeah.
So it depends where you go.
Yeah, I suppose. Interesting. So tell me about kind of life there as a boy. What did you work on the farm then? Did your dad have a farm?
Yeah, he had a big farm.
So you probably got put to work early, huh?
Yeah, his idea was he has a farm. This was his dream to have a farm, and then his family would work on a farm. My brother didn't want anything to do with it. He was 10 years older than me. So my dad realized, well, he's not going to be anything with a farmer. So this guy, I'm going to make a farmer out of him. That was me.
Okay. Just two of you and your brother?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't like farming either. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I always wanted a motorcycle ever since I was 5 years old.
Oh, going back that early?
Yeah, really, really bad. I wanted one. And after 5 more years of pestering, he finally bought me a motorcycle when I was 10.
What made you want it? Where'd you see one, or what was the catalyst?
I tried to figure that out, and I think it was just from seeing them, and
you were intrigued. Somehow.
Intrigued. I loved them. You don't have to pedal. You can just ride this thing around.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I wanted one.
Okay. So what did you do in that first 10 years? Were you into other sports? Did you have any other hobbies or anything, or before you got a bike?
Yeah, baseball. I wasn't old enough in school to play basketball or football yet. So it was basically just baseball.
Yeah.
And I was always a busy kid. I always wanted to be outside doing something.
Yeah.
And early on, my dad had some horses, and he would buy new horses and sell them and this and that. So I would ride horses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably fun to grow up on a farm as a kid, other than if you had to get up and help with the chores, but lots of room to go out and
that part of it was great. Yeah.
So I guess take me back to kind of your first experience with motocross, which, was it scrambles still at the time, or?
Yeah, all that me or anybody knew about motorcycle racing, dirt biking, was TT, flat track, and hill climb.
Yeah.
Motocross, I didn't know anything about it, and all the people I knew didn't know anything about it. We didn't even know it existed. So when I was 13, I had my second motorcycle. It was a Honda Scrambler, 160 Honda Scrambler.
Okay.
And I'd be riding that around the farm, fields, and strip mines. You could get behind our house, and I could get on the dirt roads, and it was a lot of riding back there into more strip mines and stuff. But a friend, a schoolmate of mine, he worked for a guy that was taking us to I thought we were going to a hill climb. And I got there, and it wasn't no hill climb, man. It just happened to be one of the first times that Edison Dye started bringing Europeans over here to demonstrate what motocross was. And this was like I think it was in 67 or something like that.
Okay. Was it a Trans AMA, or what was it?
No, it was just a one-off
like a demo.
special race. But Joel Robert was there, a lot of the Czech riders, and they were on these CZs and Huskies and Maicos, and they were wheeling down the straightaways, just showcasing. But they were sliding around corners, and I was in awe that day, and I knew that was something I wanted to do, just like that. And I went home and started making ovals and circles in the fields and practicing on my Honda.
Yeah.
The cornering that I saw them doing, and that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. So right away. So who else was there? Falta, I'm assuming?
I believe Falta was there. Miroslav Holm, but Dave Bickers, I believe, was there. And I know Joel was there. I think Torsten Holman was there.
Did you get to, I imagine that the barrier to these guys was pretty small back then. Were you able to go up and talk to them or see them or watch them?
I'm sure we were. I think the pits were open and we could walk around and look at stuff. But I was pretty shy, so I wasn't going to go up and talk to anybody.
Okay. I just would have loved to be around Joel Robert. He just seemed like such a character from the stories I've heard.
Yeah, he was. I got to race with him, of course, later on.
Yeah, just good sense of humor, probably a little loose.
Always showboating.
Was he?
Yeah, and he would pretend like he was drinking a lot of alcohol and smoking cigarettes and getting wasted even the night before. But when nobody was looking, he'd pour his drink out and pretend like he was drinking a lot. This is to psych people out. And I think he liked just messing with people.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard a story. I think it was in South Africa at some race, and he was walking around. He'd emptied a bottle of vodka or something and just put water in it. But he's stumbling around up to the line with this bottle, and people are freaking out, trying to get him disqualified. And he's, finally just went, it's nothing. Right?
He was a good actor.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so, and you guys the Scrambler was really a street bike, right?
Yeah,
that was kind of the norm back then. You just throw some knobby tires on it and get rid of the lights. And
well, I was forced to throw knobby tires on it because a friend of mine has a driver's license, and we would sneak out off of the dirt roads and ride on the roads. And we were riding with another guy, and I was on the back of this other guy. He had a bigger bike, and we were going down a straightaway and going to go up the hill, but it wide off this way to the left. And we were over here, and my friend was behind us a ways. We didn't even know he caught us yet. And this guy I was riding with, Charlie, was lining up to do that. He's going to sweep in and do that Y turn. I thought he was going to go straight too. And all of a sudden, I'm, okay, we're going this way. And all of a sudden, the guy that was on my bike T-boned us.
Oh, no.
And everybody was knocked out. We were laying on the road, sprawled out.
Helmets?
Only Charlie had a helmet on. But luckily, it was kind of cold out, so I had a light coat on and a stocking hat. I don't know if that helped any. I came to first. By the time I came to, the ambulance was there. They were tending to Charlie because he got the worst of it. And my other friend that hit us was sprawled out up on the road still, and he was just sitting up, blood coming out of his ears, and he didn't know what happened. Took us to the hospital, and I was just road rash. I didn't get hurt too bad. Charlie broke his arm, and Lee was just knocked out silly. But
lucky.
My motorcycle slid down the road so far that the cases got worn into the transmission. All the oil came out.
Oh, no.
My bike was a wreck, And this guy, Lee, his dad, picked my bike up and took it home for me. My dad saw it, and he was pissed. So there was no motorcycle until, I don't know, maybe a month later, he cooled down, took it to the Honda shop and said, make a hill climber out of this thing, because that's all he knew.
Right, gotcha. Just wanted you off the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was great. Started me riding in the dirt.
Yeah.
Had a better bike to ride in the dirt.
So the Scrambler was your second. What was your first bike?
I don't know if you call it a motorcycle. It was actually a 50cc Harley Davidson.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was such a thing.
It was more like a moped, but it actually had foot pegs on it and a three-speed shift transmission. I rode that thing for 3 years. I don't know how many miles I put on. I know when we first got it, I put 95 miles on it back and forth in our driveway.
Oh, my gosh.
We had about 150-yard driveway, but, yeah, I just couldn't stay off of it.
Yeah, just hooked. Loved the feeling, yeah. So what riders, like who were kind of the guys you were looking up to? Obviously, DeCoster was the man, I'm sure, at the time.
Yeah, at first it was Torsten Hallman and Joel Robert because they were the top guys at the time.
Okay.
And in all the magazines I started getting when I realized what motocross was. And motocross was starting to take off, right there in America at that time.
Yeah. But still bigger in Europe, so those were the global superstars, even though you probably didn't have a lot of access to them, huh?
Yeah, just in the magazines.
Yeah. And then who were you riding with? Did you have a crew locally that you kind of grew up with that also were passionate about it?
Not at first, but once I got my next motorcycle, was a 200 Sherpa Espel Taco.
Okay.
I was riding from the farm. I could just go ride in a lot of places within a 10-mile radius.
Yeah.
And I started to meet guys that were riding there and get to be friends with them. And then, we'd start riding together.
Yeah. None of them went on to race professionally?
No, none of those guys. One of the names did, though. I'll tell you about that as we go along.
Okay. And then how did you kind of get your first support deal? I mean, I imagine you're just kind of racing locally. And then how did the first kind of bit of help come along.
Yeah. Well, this guy that I met while I was riding around Lisbon started taking me to races, and that was on the Sherpa S, and I knew that bike wasn't good enough. By the way, I did race a race with the Europeans. It was Edison was still bringing guys over, and they had this big race the other side of Ohio. And I rode the 250 support class on that Bull Taco.
Okay.
And they had a school there, and Gary Bailey and John DeSoto was teaching the school, which I was in before the race. And Lackey was there. I didn't know any of these people at the time, knew of them, but that's it. And I did okay in that class. I got 10th in the support class, and got to watch Robert and those guys again, even more riders. And then after the races, they said, well, you got to go into the tent and get your 10th place money, purse money. What? I got money for that? And I went in the tent. It was all enclosed, and Robert and the other Europeans were in there, and I was just, wow, this is awesome. And I won $10.
$10.
Yeah.
Well, back then it was,
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. For me, it was,
Yeah.
instead of a trophy, I actually won money, and I was only 14.
Okay. Yeah. Shoot.
So that was pretty cool. That was that one picture I sent you on the Bull Taco.
Yeah. That was that
one.
day?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was that day.
That's awesome. So did you get to kind of hang around and watch those guys at all? Like how were they back in those days?
Super fast. I mean, I just watched them riding the track, between my motos.
Yeah.
And what they were doing, and it was very inspiring to see the
What about in
control.
the tent afterwards? Like how were those guys interacting with each other? Did they say hi to you? Were they friendly?
I don't remember if they actually talked to me or not, but they were friendly amongst each other. They were all talking together,
Okay.
A lot of it I couldn't understand because it was in Flemish or French.
Right. Gosh, cool. What a neat time.
Yeah.
Okay, so your first support deal came from what then?
Well, right
From that
after
event?
that, my dad bought me a open bike, Husqvarna.
Okay.
And that was in January when he bought it, so I couldn't ride it until March when the ice melted. And I started racing that thing in all the local races. And by this time, my parents were taking me to the races instead of Dale Burton, the guy that got me started racing. And I was doing good. I was winning the expert class a lot of times and got the attention of a local Husqvarna dealership. And I rode that bike for a year and a half, and by this time, Twin Falls Sports Cycles was the name of the shop. And my dad and me went up there to trade that bike in for a new one, and they said, you don't have to pay us anything. We'll just take your bike, and here's a new bike. So that was my first really support.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Husky 500 at the time was pretty good, I believe, right?
Yeah, it was one of the best bikes, yeah.
Okay. So what year would that have been?
I think that was 69.
Okay. And so then how did that go? Because I know you made it to like a Trans AMA at one of these 70 or 71, didn't you?
71, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was it going on 70, just more local racing? Did you get to any other regional stuff or bigger events? Was there anything?
Yeah, actually I did. They had another big race where the Europeans came over in, it was somewhere in western Ohio.
Okay.
We went over there and I raced that. It was a 2-day event. I remember Torleif Hansen was there on the Husky, and I was still on Husky, and he was so fast. It was crazy to see that in person.
Yeah.
And there was a couple other ones that were real big like that. One at Honda Hills.
Okay.
And it was all Europeans were there. And at that time, we raced 3 30-minute motos. So it was a lot of riding and racing. And then a CZ guy's dealership wanted to pick me up.
Okay.
And I loved CZs for some reason. So I started riding for him. And he was the one that sent me on the Trans Am circuit.
Okay.
Out to California was the first race at Carlsbad.
So he gave you bikes, said, hey, we're going to fly you to these events, And would he get your bike there and everything?
He flew it to Los Angeles, where Jimmy Weinert and Brad Lackey picked me up at the airport and got my bike.
How was that, getting picked up by those guys?
Well, it was awesome, but at the same time, I didn't know what to do and what to say or think. I was kind of shy, and wasn't exposed to that. Never been on an airplane before. My parents gave me $250 and said, because I quit school, I didn't go back for my junior year. And September, the series started. And they said, if you can make enough money, because there was purse money, and I was riding the international class now, not the support class. And if you can make enough money to get from race to race, you can keep racing. If you don't, you have to come back and finish school. So that was some serious motivation for me. I wasn't going to let that happen.
Yeah, that would be, I can see. Super motivating. So how did the Carlsbad thing go? So Lackey picks you up.
And Weinert.
And
I remember Weinert more than Lackey because I think Lackey went to the airport with Weinert, but it was in Weinert's van. So I was more with Weinert.
Was he a CZ guy?
Yeah, he was a CZ guy at the time.
Okay.
So we're in the pit area, and he's sitting in the side of his van. You could open the side doors with his guitar, singing, make up songs about the Europeans and how we're going to kick their ass. Yeah. He's just so outgoing and flamboyant. And I was real quiet and shy, but I was just watching all this going on. So we race, and the second moto, I don't remember what happened in the first moto too much, but the second moto was a kind of a little pile-up in the first lap.
Okay.
And I think I ran over somebody, and I actually think it was Weinert, but I never was sure. It was kind of dusty and stuff.
Yeah.
And my bike, there was one big thing coming off the frame that held the low pipe on, and that broke. So my bike broke. After the race, Weinert was going around the pits trying to find a ride for me because he didn't want to take me to the next race, which is in Boise, Idaho.
Okay.
And it worked out really good because he found a guy that was local, and he owned a CZ dealership. And he kind of took me in under his wing. He did. And let me stay with him and fixed my bike and found a ride for me to the next race up in Boise.
Okay.
He had all these magazines that I never seen in his dealership. And I had a great time looking through those and taking naps, and they were fixing my bike. And, it was great. Took me to their apartment and made me meals. I ate with them and just took real good care of me.
Yeah. Interesting, like that time was, that time in the sport, it was just so new. There was definitely a camaraderie and a brotherhood amongst it seemed like.
Yeah.
It wasn't as cutthroat as it is today.
No, nowhere near.
Yeah.
If you needed a part, a spark plug or whatever, ask your neighbor there in the pits, and if he had one, he'd give it to you.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Okay, so that was what, 71?
Yeah.
Okay, and you had some moments where you're running okay there before your bike broke? Did you?
Honestly, that first race is kind of a blur.
Okay.
I don't know where I was or what I did or anything. I just remember that part of it. But in Boise, things started to look a lot brighter.
Okay. Was this OMC, the same track that's still there?
Honestly, I don't know. I know they had a big sand hill that you kind of went across the top and then came down. It was all whooped out, big, long downhill.
They still do a vintage event there.
Is that right?
Yeah, the Interam. It's, same track.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's neat. So how did that one go?
A lot better. I believe I got 15th overall in the international class. Made some purse money.
Okay.
Decent amount.
So you were making enough to keep ticking along. All right. So how about the rest of the year? What else? Did you make it to other nationals? Was there nationals at the time?
I don't think so. No, I don't remember in 71 if there definitely wasn't nationals. The first thing that started was Interam races.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
looks like the first national you did was in 72, Road Atlanta. So what you just kind of did the Trans AMAs and whatever other races you could in 71, and you you didn't have to go back to school, so it seems like you were making enough to keep chugging along.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was working out good. But it's worth mentioning that, because this is different thing that happened. This doesn't happen anymore. But from Boise, the next race was in Wisconsin, and I got another ride. I was hitchhiking rides.
Okay.
Because there was a guy that was by himself, and he needed it. Sure,
Co-pilot.
I'll take you, yeah. So went to Wisconsin, had some issues with the CZ, the ignition cutting out, and in, I believe, the second moto, that I was running pretty good. I don't know what place, but top 10, top 15. And Mark Blackwell thought he was lapping me, but my bike kept missing out, so it was slowing down, so I wasn't letting him pass me, like moving over for him. After the race, he comes up and says, "Hey, why didn't you move over when you're being lapped?" And I was like, I wasn't being lapped. And I thought that just motivated me more. It made me, pissed at him.
Mm.
And you don't mess with farm boys like that,
Yeah.
It just makes us want to try harder. So anyway, to shorten the story, from there, my parents picked me up. I got to stay home for a while. I didn't go to the Florida race because it was so far. And the rest of the series was going to go west. And this whole time, I'm riding under an alias name. I'm not racing under my name because I wasn't old enough to get a license yet.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. At the time, you had to be 18 to get a pro license. And I was only 17.
Mm.
So my friend that was 17 years older than me, that started me racing, taught me a lot, took me to races in the beginning. He said, "Don't worry, I'll get in my FIM pro license, and you can use my license." Because back then it came like a 5x4 in a binding. You could put it in a what's that called?
Like a laminated.
Laminated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could take it out, and the mugshot was just glued onto that license. So carefully took his off and put my picture on it.
And there was no digital system to check and confirm. So there was like, all right, looks good.
Yep, here's your license.
He's got one, yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't tell anybody my real name because I didn't want the word to get out.
Yeah.
So everybody thought I was Dale Burton. Lackey and all these friends I'm starting to become friends with.
Oh, they just knew you as Dale.
Dale Burton. Yeah, they didn't know me. So it was pretty funny. And my dad, actually, this was very generous for my dad to let me use his only pickup truck to drive myself to the next two races from Ohio, which was St. Louis and somewhere in Oklahoma.
Okay.
So we throw my CZ in the back. It had like a cap on it, aluminum cap.
Okay.
And the bike would fit in there, tie it down. And I drive all the way to St. Louis, get there on Friday, and it's pretty cold out. I had to sleep in the back of that thing in a sleeping bag. Get there Friday night. It was dark, and it was real windy, and the aluminum thing was flapping and making a lot of noise. I had to get the big wooden plank out, put it on top, wake up in the morning, and there's some other guys there, and Sonny DeFeo was there. And I knew him because I raced against him in Pennsylvania a few times. Went over to talk to him, and he had a mechanic with him, and we just became really good friends. And he said, "No, you can come stay with us in the motel," which was a lifesaver.
Mm.
And so it got to starting to be really good friends with some of these people. And I did okay at the races. I don't remember what I got, but I got money again. And I was so sick after the race from, I think, just being depleted and overextended that I was in bad shape. Couldn't hardly stand up.
Jeez.
Sonny helped me out, got me to the motel. I had some ginger ale and toast. That's the only thing I could keep down. But the next morning I felt great, and I had a new friend, so I followed him and other guys, which was Lackey. Tony Wynn lived in Arkansas, And we went down to Wynn's house, and all of us stayed there, even the Czech riders, because there was a CZ shop there.
Okay.
And became better friends with Lackey. And I was just going to race the Oklahoma race and then go back to Ohio. The next race was up in Puyallup, Washington, and then Livermore, and then Saddleback was the end.
Okay.
Again, found a rider that was by himself. Was glad to have me ride along with him. Called my parents. They said, yeah, you can go.
You're still not 18 at the time?
No.
Okay.
I'm
and you're still racing under
Dale.
Dale. Yeah. Okay.
Found a gas station that looked honest, and they let me keep the truck there. And rode with Dave Dorchuk to Puyallup, Washington. His family had a big house there, and we stayed there in the house during the week. Went to that race. I loved that place. Just was magical to me. I did really good. Felt a lot better. Same thing in Livermore. Stayed at Lackey's house and did really well there. And then at the last race in Saddleback, I was even better. Did really well there on the CZ. Actually made the cover of one of the magazines. I think it was Motocross Action. And they thought I was Roger DeCoster.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and they had my picture under Roger DeCoster. So that was like, what? That's crazy.
Feeling pretty good about that, though,
I
probably.
was very, very happy.
Was that 71?
Yeah, still 71.
Okay. All right, so by the end of 71, you've hit now quite a few of these Trans AMAs and these national rounds. You are getting experience. You're making enough money to keep going. What happens in 72?
Went to the Florida Winter Series. That was a place to go. 8 races, good competition. Went down there.
And you're still riding a CZ?
Yeah, still riding a CZ.
Okay.
Knew Sonny and Tony Wynn pretty well now. So when I got down there, met up with them. We rented a house in Cocoa Beach, kind of on the beach. We could practice at the Kennedy Space Center.
Oh, really?
It wasn't far from there, yeah. There wasn't an open track or anything, but there was an open area with a track that you could ride. Nobody cared. So we're going down there riding. And there was 3 motos in the Florida sand heat. So it was brutal. And to shorten the story, my CZ was still having mechanical problems. Rolf Tiblin had a big team down there. He was a team manager. You know, Rolf, 2-time world champion. And the cycle liner was there, and it was Billy Grossi, Bob Grossi, Mark Blackwell. I forget who else was in there, but other Husky riders. Anyway, Rolf seen that I didn't know, but he was watching me and seen that I was doing really well, and I was having trouble with the CZ. So he said, "Hey, do you want to ride one of our bikes, race one of our bikes?" And I was tired of breaking down, so I said, "Yeah, sure." And I did really well on it. And then at the end of that series, Husqvarna started supporting me with bikes and parts, and works bikes and parts.
A pretty good step forward from the CZ.
Yeah, because it was works bike now.
So then you also hit some nationals that year.
Yeah, I'm sure I did. Inter-Ams or nationals. Yeah.
And these Rita's nationals, it could have been. I don't know if they included some of those, but you were second at Road Atlanta. Then you're doing 500 nationals. Third at DeSoto Cycle Ranch, which I've never even heard of. Is that Florida?
I don't remember that place.
Well, you got a podium there in May of 72. And then Snyder MX Park, never heard of that.
I don't remember that one either.
And then, here, so it's Owyhee, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that, Owyhee Motorcycle Club Grounds. That's OMC in Boise. That's still there.
Okay.
That's hilarious. So that was back in that night. Now you dropped down to the 250 class. So, yeah, you raced that whole summer and finished with a third at Alabama. So, I mean, you were running up front for sure. So that led to 73. Did they continue support?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, even more support. At that time, we were still driving to all the races, though. And a lot of times I was riding in the cycle liner and helping the drive.
Was that like a big box van or what?
It was actually a library bus. It was huge, big bus.
Okay.
And they converted it to load all our bikes, and there were sleeping bunks in it. It was big. It was slower than dog shit.
55 across the country or what?
Well, on the low level ground, especially downhills, you could go really fast. But uphills, man, I think I could have jogged beside it on some of the long uphills. Yeah.
Well, you in '73, you had another pretty good year. You're a lot of seconds. Amelia Earhart Park. I don't know where the heck that is, but you were second there, third at Lake Whitney, third at Unadilla.
And you got to realize that at some of these Interam races, if they were Interams, they had Europeans there too.
Yeah, yeah. Those are the best guys in the world, right?
Right.
And I can't tell what's what. You did a race at Delta Motorsports Park. That's in Ohio, right? That's still there.
Northeast Ohio. Yeah.
I raced there in like maybe '94.
Oh. Was it a national?
No, it was a. What the heck was it? I think it was just a money race, a big money race at the time. But one of the Bowen boys was racing. Not Keith. What was his brother's name?
I knew Keith. I didn't know his
Okay.
brother.
Anyway, maybe I'm getting it wrong, but I do remember racing there, so it was funny that's been around for that long.
It was real hard packed soil. Remember that?
Yeah. So, 73 just still with Husky and doing well. Was there 500 kind of the?
It was awesome. Yeah. Works bike was right up there with the best bikes for sure.
Yeah. Okay. And then tell me what happened in '74. You got a call from Husky, right?
Yeah, I got another ride. They extended my contract. Got a salary now. Okay. But we were still driving to the races, which most people were at that time.
Yeah. Okay. But wasn't that year '74 you won the 500 Supercross series?
Yeah, that was in '74. Yeah.
So I don't know when the Supercross started. '72, I want to say.
I believe it was '72. First one at Los Angeles Coliseum, where 16-year-old Marty Tripes won, and a lot of Europeans were there too.
Yeah. And then a lot of people may not know, but there was 250 and 500 Supercross classes, right? There wasn't 125 at the time. Mm-hmm. So you were 1974 500 Supercross champion.
Yeah, that was actually the premier class. That'd be like the 450 class nowadays.
Yeah. But the class sort of died after a handful of years.
A couple of years. It was 2 years.
And so it kind of gets lost in history. Like,
it did.
You know,
yeah.
Which is funny, but.
Yeah, I think they thought that 250 motor bikes were more
suited for it.
You're right, suited for Supercross. Yeah, and I think
it's probably right.
They were, yeah. I think it's that way now today too.
I agree with you. I think we'd be better off with smaller bikes inside for sure.
Yeah.
Who was the other 500 champion?
Steve Stackable. He won it in '75.
Okay. And then that was it.
Poof. Yeah, in the history books. Not mentioned again, basically.
Yeah. Well, you're one of two. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So did you get a good bonus for that? Was there, were you starting to make decent money now?
Yeah, I was making decent money for sure. Honestly, I don't remember if there was a bonus for that or not. It probably was. Yeah, it probably was.
Okay. So take me through the rest of that year. And what do you remember from that? And was that, you wrap up this 500 Supercross championship. Was Supercross obviously wasn't as prestigious as it is now. It was a younger series, but did you appreciate what you had, done?
To me, an outdoor championship would be much more valuable, and I think in the sport it would be considered more valuable at the time.
At the time, yeah.
Yeah.
And a Grand Prix world title, that's the pinnacle.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But, it was cool. It was fun racing those races. In Supercross, and it was early in the season. It was finished pretty soon, and then we went into outdoors.
Yeah.
But even at that time, outdoors, the Trans Am was the series.
Oh, is that right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Because it had all the best Americans and the best Europeans.
Yeah.
That was it.
But it's neat that looking now, it's like your name is etched into these history books in what is now. I think if we're being honest, Supercross is the premier series of off-road motorcycle racing.
Yeah, nowadays, yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Even at the time, you're like,
Right.
this old Supercross title.
Well, you don't really appreciate what you had until it's over,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
it's
you
gone,
get
yeah.
older and you can realize.
Okay, so take me into the following year. Well, how did the rest of the summer? You win the Supercross title. How'd the rest of everything go?
It went good. I won at least one national, if not more. And
Yeah, Motocross West, wherever that is.
it was probably New Orleans.
Oh, really?
No, West wouldn't. No. Motocross. Oh, might have been Phoenix. There was a race there. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of these names, man, Highland Hills, Moto Masters Park, I know Delta, Grand Am Motocross Park.
Honestly, I don't know those names now.
Appalachia, that was one. Didn't Dave Coombs run that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his original race, right?
In West Virginia, yeah.
Appalachia Lake, yeah. And then Redbud, of course, Redbud's still around.
Yeah, yeah.
Baymare Cycle Park, I think that's
California.
San Francisco area, right?
I believe it is, yeah.
I could be wrong. Yeah. And then Hangtown. That's another one that's been around a long time. And you were third that year in 74. 500 class, which was the premier class. Yeah, so it was a great season, I would say, all around for you. You're winning championships. You're winning races in the 500 national class. What was the biggest standout from that year for you?
Well, the biggest memory from that year was what happened in the Trans Am. Can't remember if I was riding the support class or the international class, but was doing well. And the thing is that the camaraderie you mentioned, and we're still driving all the races, so big caravan. And when they'd get close to Lisbon, Ohio, the riders and mechanics would come to the farm. And my parents was open armed welcome. They liked them being there.
Yeah.
So they had special cookouts on a big skew. Like we even had a deer one time, a pig and some chickens, and eating out. And my dad had the freezer full of awesome steaks. So we were having a great time. We could ride right there from the farm and practice. And at one time, I remember there were 16 people staying there in their vans and sleeping on the floor, whatever. So it was a really good time. And at that time, riding mini bikes you don't want to do that because especially Husqvarna.
Like pit bike?
Pit bike. The big thing was XR75s, and the riders and mechanics would get carried away with that. Torleif Hansen tore his ACL, and he was one of the top riders for Husqvarna at the time, Trans Am Series, so they were really pissed about it. And they said that if any of you guys are hurt on a mini bike, you're disqualified from your contract. But that didn't stop us when we were at the farm. So
nothing's changed is what you're telling me.
Yes. So
you guys are still doing this today.
Bob Grossi and I got hurt on the mini bikes. And it got back to upper management that we crashed together, racing each other, which wasn't true. Grossi tore his ACL, which was a career-ending injury at the time. He couldn't get it fixed.
Really? There was no ACL reconstructive surgery at the time, yeah.
So that same evening, I broke my elbow really bad. And neither one of us could go to the next race, which was in Honda Hills. Well, it leaked back, of course, to Husqvarna. And I didn't know at the time, they never even told me that your contract is null and void. So the next race that I could get to and actually get my cast off and race was Livermore, California. But on the way was St. Louis, Missouri. So I had a motorhome at the time, and I drove myself to St. Louis. Hey, everybody, what's going on? Got back with, all my friends. And the next race was at Livermore. I drive all the way out there, and when I get there, there was like a motel headquarters. I find out that I don't have a bike. They gave my bike to Husqvarna, gave my bike to Howerton. So, okay. At this time, I already cut my cast off before I even got there and was riding a mini bike again.
Of course.
I had to stay up to practice, It was
Yeah.
good training.
Yeah.
No, it was stupid, but that's what we did. We thought we were invincible.
Yeah.
And luckily, Billy Grassi and I were pretty good friends at the time, and he talked to Roy Turner as mechanic, and Roy asked Honda if I could race their practice bike, Billy's practice bike. And they said, yeah, he can race at the last 2 races, but it doesn't mean we're going to sponsor him. But that was good for me. I had a bike to ride. And Roy fixed it up for me and got it ready, and I rode it the day before the race, and I ended up 4th at Livermore on it. And then at the last race was at Saddleback, I ended up 3rd overall on it.
Okay.
And it saved my ass because Husqvarna wasn't going to take me back, but I got the attention of Kawasaki, and that's when 75, I was the only motocross rider for Cowie.
Okay. So you got a factory ride in 75 with Cowie.
Yeah.
Teammates? No, just you said.
Just me that year, yeah.
Okay. So how was that bike? Still had a downpipe on it that year. Yeah.
It hadn't been updated for quite a while, and I believe it wasn't up to par with the other works bikes, but it was fast. That was one good thing about it. It was fast.
Okay.
But the bad thing about it was I broke 13 transmissions that year.
Okay. That's a lot. Was that on the 250 and 500? They both had the same issue?
Just the open bike.
Oh, okay.
3rd gear would break.
Huh.
And they'd got a new gear built for it in Southern California, from a place. And it was still breaking. When I practiced on it, when I raced it, and they couldn't fix it, so they put a big flywheel on it, which slowed it down, but I wasn't breaking gearboxes anymore. So that's why I was number 15 the next year from number 5, because I didn't finish a lot of races.
Just a lot of DNFs.
Yeah.
Well, you were 2nd at Baldwin, 2nd at Motocross West. You still were having some good races, just marred with DNFs.
When the tranny didn't break, yeah. But it's so discouraging. Sometimes it would break in practice, and I couldn't race the whole day.
No spare bikes at the time. You guys didn't have a practice bike. You had one bike.
Yeah, I mean, at home, now we're flying to the races in 75, and I had a practice bike at home, but that was it.
Yeah, just one at the race. Crazy. So what happened then at the end of that season, going into 76?
At the very first of 76.
Still with Cowie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Had some good races, like you said, in Trans Am at the end, and felt really good going into 76, but now they hired Weinert, so Jimmy and I were teammates.
Okay.
And we started the very first part of the year on the 250 races on the old bikes still with the downpipe, but shortly after that, Japan sent us new bikes. And we didn't know at the time, but Torleif Hansen and Chris Hammergren were testing them, developing them in Japan. So they had them pretty dialed in by the time they came over here. As soon as I hopped on that thing, it was like night and day difference. It was so much better. It was really, I was pumped.
Just looking at the two bikes, as there were some pictures you sent me, it's like you can it just looks more modern, it looks like a whole other level.
It was, yeah. It was. And they did most of the testing and development on the 250. So Japan just took that and built it up and made a 380 out of it for the open bike.
Gotcha.
And that was, for the time, that was the best bike I ever raced.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
for its time.
Did you feel like you were giving up power to the actual 500s at all?
Yeah. That thing was fast. I was getting whole shots with it, and it was good.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
So that year, 250 Supercross. And how was Supercross going for you on the 250? Were you still enjoying it, or was it like you're kind of more of a moto guy? I mean, you already won a Supercross title, so.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think I ever raced the 250 in Supercross. I think at the time, I could be wrong, but...
You did a couple, 7th and a 13th here at Daytona and Houston.
On the 250?
In 76. It says 250 Supercross.
Okay. Yeah, that's weird.
Maybe you just jumped in and did a couple?
Yeah, I don't remember doing it. I remember racing the open bike in Supercross.
You did one in L.A. in 75
on 250.
on a 250.
Huh.
Yeah, so there's a handful. One in New Orleans in 77. So, you did a couple.
Mm-hmm.
So going into, anyway, finished out that 75 season. Because when you got the new bike, or 76 rather, your results started decent. A lot of 7ths, 5ths. You got a 3rd at Pennsylvania, 4th at Moto Masters. But then you can see it goes like 4th at Lake Sugar Tree, which is still there, David Bailey's place.
Yeah.
3rd at Cycle World, 3rd at Unadilla, 1st at Castle Point, 1st at Sunshine, 1st at Motocross. Like, you finished that season strong.
76.
Yeah.
That was my best year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you didn't win that outdoor title? Who won it?
Oh, I won the last 3 races, but Howerton beat me out in points.
Okay.
Yeah. That was very heart-wrenching. I wanted to win that so bad. And I actually was just off that last day in New Orleans. I won the race, but mentally I was off. Wasn't riding up to par. And in the first moto, I got a 3rd place start, and I was being cautious, passing. I know Irstead was in front of me. I can't remember who else, but I was being overly cautious, passing them. I was in more of a protective mode rather than just go for it mode until Howerton passed me when I was still trying to pass Irstead. And I just, light switch went off and just was, what am I doing? And I just hammered, but I never could get around him in that race. He knew where I might have been able to pass him, and he would block me. And then in single file where he knew I couldn't pass him, he'd actually slow me down. So it was crazy.
Frustrating. Were you in a position where if you beat him both motos, you could have won the title?
That's what I had to do. I would have won the title. But he beat me in the first moto, so now it was going to be hard to win the title. Long story short, in the second moto, he got in front of me again, and there was a place right where the mechanics were all standing, and you kind of come out of a corner, and you wanted to get over to the right so you could sweep this corner by where the mechanics were. Well, that's what we were doing, but I knew if I did that, I couldn't pass him, so I came out of the corner and set him up so I could come in front of him in that corner, and actually ended up hitting him. I didn't mean to hit him, but I couldn't help it. I hit him, and he went down. I almost went down, but didn't. And he ended up being close enough to me at the end in whatever position he was that because Weinert and DeStefano actually won that moto. He was close enough to me that he still won in points.
Was he mad? Did he come up to you after the race about it?
No.
Okay.
No, nobody said anything about it. It was obvious, but Eric Crippa was his mechanic, and Eric was my mechanic when I rode Husky. And Eric told me after the race that when I hit him, there was the counter shaft sprocket was held on by a circlip, and somehow that must be right where I hit him, the circlip popped off. So his front sprocket could have came off at any time.
Jeez.
But that didn't happen.
Unfortunately.
And a previous race in one of the motos at the Nationals, I did lose a chain and DNF. So that's just the way it was.
That's dirt bike racing.
Yeah.
I know about finishing second. I've had that happen by a couple points. It's tough.
Yeah.
What about Hanna? He was coming on at this time, right? He would have been 125 champion.
Mm-hmm.
What were your guys' thoughts on him? It seems like it was kind of like Deegan coming in now. Just real brash and.
Yeah.
What was the consensus among you guys in the pits about him?
I don't remember really noticing him until he started winning races in the bigger bike classes.
Okay.
And it was, how does he save all these near crashes?
Yeah. Ricky.
Yeah, but even more, like feet up above his head, hanging on with the handlebars. He stuff comes down on the bike.
Yeah.
So we noticed that for sure. And he didn't like anybody that had the potential of beating him.
Yeah.
So he was a real, even worse, way worse than Deegan with the attitude.
Okay, so tell me, that was you say 76 was maybe your best year. Very close in that championship. You won a lot of races. What stands out the most? I mean, did you do some Trans AMA stuff?
Yeah. What stands out the most, even in 75, is winning some Trans Am motos, and the same in 76. And at the end of the Trans Am series, I ended up 4th. Because I DNF'd the last moto, I would have been 3rd overall. So I had the speed, for sure. I just wasn't consistent enough on riding at my highest potential every time I got on the gate. I don't know why. I mean, if I knew why, I could have fixed it. But when I was on and felt good and felt like I could win, I had to feel like I was going to win to actually ride at that level.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. Like getting in the zone or the flow state, or where you're just at your very best.
Yeah.
I would hit that sporadically, so I can totally relate to that. Whereas a guy like Jeremy, like Carmichael,
Ricky,
you name it, all these legendary guys, they can just do it week after week after week.
Right. Right.
And it's like you said, it's tough because you go, man, I don't. If I knew what the answer was, I would work on it.
Yeah.
You practice, you train, you test, you do all the things, and
yeah. And David, my answer to that was train harder, work harder. And I was already overtraining. I didn't realize that until way later. Because every time I trained, and I had a routine I went through every week, I was like to the max. This is as hard as I can go. I'm totally exhausted at the end of the day. 3 days in a row. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Rest Friday and Saturday, race Sunday. But that wasn't the best either. I should have done something on Saturday. Because I came in being not lethargic, but I mean, I had the adrenaline. I didn't feel like I needed to do anything, but it wasn't ideal.
Yeah, knowing what we know now about physiology.
Yeah.
And even was the case into the 90s. A lot of guys were not training correctly, overtraining, undertraining, just not doing things right. There got to be enough science now where guys are watching their heart rate, they're counting calories and macros, and
they're doing hard and easy days.
Yeah, it's really become a science.
Right. But speaking of that, I still believe that the guys still aren't training right because they think they have to do a strength program, a lot of bicycle miles, and they're using the energy where they should be putting that energy on the motorcycle and working. You don't have to do more motos. You have to do more practice drills.
Yeah.
And being mindful of your technique and smoothness and perfecting your riding on the motorcycle. And I had long discussions with Dave Bailey on the phone over the last couple of years, and we got to pick each other's brains. And I picked his brain, especially training with O'Mara and being coached a little bit on their riding style by Gary Bailey. Long story short, they rode the motorcycle for most of their training.
Yeah.
They didn't do much. I mean, they did some off of the motorcycle, but it was more recovery training.
Yeah.
They spent their energy on the motorcycle.
Well, listen, I've sat here and talked to most of the best champions of this sport, sat right there in that chair, and all of them have that in common. Yeah. They rode a lot. The bicycle stuff, the gym stuff, it was ancillary. It was after. It was like supplemental.
Yeah.
The bulk of it, all of these guys, their training was on the bike. And they rode, like I said, a ton. 5 gallons of gas was Ricky's thing every day. It's a lot of fuel. It's a lot of fuel.
It is. Mark Barnett, same thing.
Same thing. David Villeman, same thing. Jeremy, he rode a ton. Just loved to ride. He wasn't really a trainer. I mean, you can kind of speak to that. You helped him, and we'll get to that. But, these guys just rode a lot. So
Joao Ribera, when I was in Europe, I met people that knew him when he was a kid, and he was the same way. He rode a lot. Yeah.
I think it does a couple of things. One, it's like if you're a runner, swimming is a great exercise, but swimming doesn't necessarily make you a better runner. You need to run, or vice versa, right? Like you need to do the thing you're trying to do.
Right.
That needs to be the bulk of it. Everything else is just supplemental. If you need, I need a recovery day. Maybe the bicycle is good for an easy recovery ride because there's no.
But you don't have to
wear and tear on
ride
the
it
body.
for 4 hours.
No. So some of that stuff is overdone, and strength, depending on your build, maybe you do need to work a little bit more in the off season on heavier weights and stuff. But for most guys, it's
supplementary.
It's just supplementary.
And, I made that mistake big time. I definitely worked out a lot more, even in my best years, on weights and running instead of on the motorcycle. And I could see now that I could have been a whole lot better if I just rode the bike more. And I did ride the bike, but they were always motos.
Yeah.
I didn't do practice drills and things like that. And I learned about that when I started teaching.
You know what's interesting is Ricky was the first person I ever saw, Carmichael, to really, well, I guess for me to see that in real life. I mean, I rode with Jeremy a little bit, but I didn't get to see what he did. It would only be when it rains, and we'd all go ride in the hills, right? But we'd ride all day. We would ride all day long. But when I went to Ricky's, and it was like, okay, he did his 2 35-minute motos, but then it was like, okay, now we're going to do corners. And we would pick a section, and we work sections. And Jeannie's out there screaming and yelling, and that wasn't fast enough. And then it was like, okay, now we're going to do this turn track, and you got to do 10 laps perfect. If you make a mistake, you got to start over.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And sometimes that would take 20 or 30 minutes to get right. And then, okay, now we're going to do starts. It's like,
are you kidding?
well, I mean, what else is coming? I can't even. It'll wear you out if you just jumped into his program. It was very difficult because he already had the calluses built up on his hands and his rear end. If you try to jump in and ride that much, it was a lot.
I believe you, yeah.
But now I'm like, okay, I get it. He's just one with that bike. He's on it so much, and I think that leads to, like we talk about, that processing speed.
Yeah.
When you're so comfortable on it that it feels like an extension of you.
Yeah.
I think that helps those things.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I don't know how much the Lawrences are riding. Again, they don't give a lot of access, but.
Well, Omar is their trainer. I know how him and David trained. So I would bet that they're riding
a lot of bike stuff.
A lot of bike stuff, yeah.
Interesting stuff. Okay, so I guess before we move on to 77, let me ask you our seat concepts hot seat question. If you guys need a seat cover, complete seat, whatever, check out our friends at Seat Concepts. Use our code WT26 with all of our partners to get you a good deal. Who is your main rival? Like, was there a rider you didn't like or you always seem to find on the track and butt heads with?
It probably would be Hannah because I didn't like getting beat so much. But I didn't really have an arch rival that I considered. At certain times there were different people for whatever reasons. I was just trying, to do the very best I could and ride my race. I wasn't concerned or thinking about other riders.
Okay. Weren't too concerned with it.
Yeah.
Did you know Rich Thorwaldsen?
Rich Thorwaldsen? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was somehow related to me. He was my grandfather's cousin.
Oh, yeah.
And
he's a really nice guy.
Was he?
Factory Suzuki rider.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
But he was 500 class, like maybe this window of time. So you probably raced with him, right?
I have, yeah. Him and Mike Runyard actually were on Factory Suzukis.
Yeah. Yeah, my grandpa later in his life, I mean, he was probably 90. So, I've had a ton of conversations with him about dirt bikes and my career and stuff. And he's just sitting there rocking in his chair one day. He goes, I had a cousin who raced dirt bikes. And I go, oh, yeah, waiting for him to just give me some anecdote. And he's like, yeah, Rich Thorwaldsen. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, Rich Thorwaldsen? What do you mean, Rich Thorwaldsen? Yeah. And he pulls out, shows me a picture that he had of the two of them. And I'm like, okay, well, that guy's a, championship level guy, factory guy. I said, anyway, all right. So, cool. Yeah. Anyway, just thought that was interesting. Okay, so going into 77, what happened? Still with Cowie?
Yeah.
Okay.
3 years.
Were they taking good care of you?
Yeah, 3 years with Husky and then 3 years with Cowie. So I had a great year in 76. So
Yep.
I'm thinking, man, 77 is going to be, this is it. This is going to be my year, right?
Yep.
The 2 weeks before the first Supercross in Atlanta that year, I have a practice crash and hurt my left leg, like up here, my upper quad.
Okay.
And it was bad, man. I mean, bad. I must have hit it on the crossbar or something because it swelled and turned black and blue purple all the way down my calf into to my ankle.
Oh, jeez.
I couldn't hardly walk on it. In 2 weeks, I got to race the first Supercross. So I was real concerned about it. I went to doctors, and they looked at it and said, it looks like you have calcium deposits starting to form in your upper leg, your quads, between your ligaments, tendons, muscles. It's not on the bone. It's growing off of the bone, but in that area. And I learned what they do is they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and they're still soft. And after a certain amount of time, they'll shrink a little bit and turn like bone.
Okay.
Well, they said you got two things you can do. You can just rest it and not do anything, or you can carry on, and if you can ride, you know. I couldn't hardly walk on it, and I didn't think I'd be able to ride on it, but I thought, well, I got to try. You know, I went to the first race in Atlanta, and I had to ride with a lot of weight on my right leg, and I couldn't put it out for corners. But I remember before the race, it was like my mind, I had to keep it focused on, I can still win this thing. I can still win. And it wanted to go to, well, maybe I can just see where I finish. And I battled with that. But I went to the line believing I could win. I got a massive hole shot and stayed out front for a long time. And then I remember second place was Hannah and Pomeroy, or Pomeroy and Hannah at the beginning. And I was keeping them, I don't know, 5 seconds back or whatever, and was just focusing on riding real smooth. And I had 1 or 2 laps to go. It was right at the end. And the section of track came out onto the starting line, and it was real fast going down the starting line. And all of a sudden, my bike was zin, zin. I was like, what? I missed a gear? I didn't even shift it. And I just happened to look back to see what was going on, and I saw the chain going out off of the bike. Somehow the chain broke. I don't know how. So I DNF'd, and I was discouraged that I didn't win, but at the same time, I was happy to know that, well, I'm going to be able to race.
Yeah.
I'm going to be able to ride. Next race was in Daytona, and my leg hurt so bad that week and so bad in practice in Daytona that I couldn't even race. So that was, I had to miss some races, and when it healed well enough that I could ride, I was so gung-ho to go race again. I shouldn't have. I couldn't put my foot out for a corner to save my life, my left foot.
Because it hurt, or it was weak, or
weak. There was no, like, the nerve wasn't there to move it.
I wonder if you had a fracture in your femur that they just didn't pick up or something.
I don't think so. It was
Just
obvious
bruising?
that it was the calcium deposit. This was all swollen and really sore to touch.
But why would you get calcium deposits in there?
Well, they said, I went to really good doctors about it, and they said football players get it a lot in their forearms from always blocking.
Okay.
And that bruising all the time, they'll form calcium deposits in their forearms. And it was just such a hard blow that my body decided to grow a big calcium to protect itself, which wasn't good.
Crazy. Okay.
Yeah. So that year,
that kind of hindered your whole season, huh?
It did. It was like that until, I don't know, halfway through the season. And then by the end, it was, I could it was weak, but I could finally put my foot out for a corner. And I did okay that year. I don't remember what I ended up overall.
Yeah, a lot of 5th, 6th, that kind of stuff. Even on the 500, which is kind of your forte. Mm-hmm. So then what happened at the end of that year?
Well, I would think the Kawasaki would keep me on because of the bike that I raced in 75, breaking 13 transmissions, did really good in 76. They knew I had an injury. I found out later that Japan was pushing Tim Smith, our team manager, to make a lot of changes. So they let me go, and they hired other riders. And years afterwards, talking to Tim Smith, he regrets doing that. But that was water under the bridge. At the time, he did what he thought he needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the end of 77. Really wasn't looking for a ride from other manufacturers. So the only thing I could get was a factory contract with Can-Am. And their bike, Jimmy Alice could go fast on it, but he was pretty special to go fast on that thing.
Yeah.
The bike needed a lot of help, especially the open bike.
From what I've gathered, guys that I've had on here who've raced that thing, they said it was really fast,
Right.
but it wouldn't handle. It either wouldn't turn or,
Wouldn't handle. I remember the 250s in Supercross, and even the 500, which wasn't a 500, it was the 370, I believe. You couldn't even hold it in place for the start. The clutch would start dragging.
Oh, boy.
And how are you going to get a whole shot on that thing?
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, you're not. All right, so that was your 78.
Yeah.
And did you make it through the whole season?
I did.
Okay.
And I had a really good mechanic. His name was Mike Stark. He ended up opening up a machine shop of his own, so he was really smart.
Okay.
He finally convinced Can-Am that, hey, we need to make big changes to this open bike. So Can-Am went to a race in Unadilla to watch what was going on. And once they were there and saw what was going on, they realized that, yeah, we need to help. So Mike and Can-Am made massive changes with that bike, from front to rear, a motor, made it into a 420, took like 20 pounds of weight off of it. It had new parts everywhere. Olean's suspension got on board with us, and I started to get some top fives in the Trans Am at the end of the season with it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the results were okay. You had some top fives, some top sevens, fourth at LA. So there were some bright spots, but not winning, which I'm sure you were wanting to get back to.
Right.
So at the end of that season, because you ended up going to Honda, right?
Yeah.
So what happened there with Can-Am, and how did the Honda deal come to be?
Steve Whitelock was team manager of Honda, and he approached me a couple times at the Trans Am races and was interested. And I liked Can-Am at the time, but I didn't think they were as good as a Honda. So I signed a deal with Honda for 79.
And at the time, was Honda a good, reputable bike and team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were.
Okay. So how did that year go? 79.
Well, it wasn't a great year for me. I don't know if I was just down in the dumps mentally from what I had to go through in 77 with injuries, what I had to go through in 78 with Can-Am, working so hard to try to get back up to my winning ways. I just was struggling at the beginning of the year, like with confidence. A lot of it was just confidence.
Okay. Well, you still had like a fifth at Atlanta, sixth at Daytona. So there were some good rides in there. Fifth at Redbud, fifth at Lakewood, Atlanta. Atlanta that year. So you have good rides.
I ended up third in the 500 Nationals that year.
Yeah. So it was decent.
It was decent,
but you were hoping for more. So, okay. So what happens at the end of that year?
Well, in the meantime, during that year, Steve Whitlock left Honda for whatever reasons, and they hired Dennis. I think his last name was Quay, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
And he was an office guy. He didn't understand motocross out in the field at the track. For instance, he thought it was going to be a good idea halfway through the season, right before the 500 Nationals were going to start, to purchase production bikes from each manufacturer of our competition and then have us do a test ride on those bikes, comparing them with our works bike to see what we could learn off of those. Well, what good's that going to do? Even if we learn something, you're not going to be able to change our works bike into that.
Right.
So I kind of, at the time, I knew what I wanted to change on the bike, and the big thing was suspension. And he had us doing these demo rides on these bikes at the track. And he said something to me, and I was stupid. I kind of lost my temper and said, well, this is really stupid what we're doing on these bikes. And well, I know what I need to do to the bike. I don't need to compare it with these production bikes. And I rubbed him, obviously, the wrong way. I could tell by the look on his face. He was like... And from then on, he didn't like me. And he fired me at the end of the year.
Yeah, well, that'll happen.
Yeah.
You make the boss mad.
Yeah.
Okay, so in 80, you ended up going to LOP, right?
Yeah, that was about the only opportunity I had.
Okay, and how was that?
Man, it was frustrating because the mechanic that I had that they hired was a good parts changer. He was good at making the bike look good, but he didn't know suspension on the front. He didn't know jetting. And for whatever reason, I was having a lot of DNFs. The forks didn't work right. And at one point, he had special forks on it, but at one point I realized, and he found out, that the bottom tubes, they weren't upside down at the time, were warped.
Oh.
So it didn't even have all the travel that it needed to go. I could tell it wasn't working right, but I wasn't a good tester. I couldn't say why it wasn't working right. So that was a frustrating year. I didn't do well.
Okay.
In 70, and I mean that was
80. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. This is going to be our Troy Lee Designs timeout, and then we're going to pick it back up with 81. And eventually here, you get your way to Europe. It starts about right here. So lots more to this story. Let's get into it. But hang tight. This is your Troy Lee Designs timeout, guys. Stick around. We'll be back here with more Gary Semics.
Dedication to progression to the future of the sport.
Pro Circuit. Pro Circuit products are designed with one goal in mind: winning. Through passion and hard work, Pro Circuit has operated the most successful 250 team in the history of the sport. They use that same formula when developing exhaust, engine, and suspension parts for every brand. When only the highest level of performance is acceptable, trust Pro Circuit.
At Seat Concepts, our handcrafted seats are made in America. Visit us online or call today. Seat Concepts. Ride the world with us.
Something from nothing. That's what Nihilo Concepts is about. It starts with a spark, an idea, a concept, which leads to a design, and finishes with engineered excellence with the highest quality products created with durability in mind. All our products are made in the USA at our state-of-the-art facility in Stuart, Florida. Whether you are a weekend warrior, ride for fun, or at the highest level of competition, Nihilo Concepts offers innovative titanium, aluminum, and carbon fiber parts for for your dirt bike. We offer a wide variety of products that you can customize to your liking. Browse our site for foot pegs, brake tips, engine components, specialty tools, frame grip tape, lever grips, carbon fiber components, motor stands, our secondary on-switch, plus much more. Head to NihiloConcepts.com and see for yourself why factory teams like Red Bull KTM, Rockstar Husqvarna, Troy Lee Designs Gas, Orange Brigade, Club MX, KLM Gas, and some of the fastest riders in the world choose Nihilo Concepts.
The inspiration for Element, interestingly, was from working with my coaches. I sat down with those guys. I'm like, hey, here's what I'm doing. What should I do? And they looked at everything and they were like, you need more electrolytes, specifically sodium. And like most people do when they have a coach, I ignored what their advice was. And kind of like, well, I salt my food, I'm probably good. And it took me at least a year to finally listen to these guys and do what they asked me to do. And it was just a switch flip. It was just so obvious that this was the critical missing piece to the story. And it's ironic that this salt piece was like the linchpin, the keystone to making all the rest of that work.
Arc levers are the most durable and reliable on the market. They have the most premier class championships of any aftermarket lever. Arc is the only ratio-adjustable folding lever on the planet, and their patented design is precision machined in-house right here in the USA. The occasional tip over on the bike is inevitable. Broken levers? Those are optional. Visit arclevers.com today. Toyota has become synonymous with reliability, and for good reason. Toyota vehicles are consistently rated #1 by Consumer Reports and in customer satisfaction. Partner that with a dealership that wholeheartedly supports the motocross community, and it's crystal clear where you should buy your next car or truck, Toyota of Redlands. As a major partner of the BarX Yamaha racing team, as well as personal sponsor of many factory racers and a premier partner of the Whiskey Throttle Show, Toyota of Redlands is heavily invested in moto. Check out all the new and used Tundras, Tacomas, and other vehicles at Toyota of Redlands today. Reliability, performance, and customer service. Get it all at Toyota of Redlands. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look no further than Prix. These guys aim to make everything OEM quality or better at an affordable price. And they've also got some new products coming. So right now, chains, sprockets, anything inside the engine internally, if it wears out, Prix makes it, and they make it at a quality level that's OEM or better.
The Specialized Science Club introduces the Levo 4, an electric mountain bike so advanced it borders on sorcery. Together, you and the Levo 4 become a harmonious hybrid of organic and synthetic. It's a rider-enhancing machine that transforms you into a cycling cyborg. 720 watts of power and 111 Newton meters of torque, amplifying your mortal muscles, allowing you to bend space and time to your will. All channeled through futuristic suspension, with honed geometry, granting super control while traversing extreme terrain at hyper speed. With supernatural power delivery, you'll have super traction to conquer climbs where others spin out. And you'll tire, if at all, before the bike does, thanks to the Levo 4's super range.
Every good podcast show has got to have an underwear sponsor, right? Well, we went right to the top, Ethica. These guys make the best underwear. If you haven't tried a pair, you don't know what you're missing. Your life hasn't even started yet. So try a pair of Ethicas on. Go to Ethica.com. Use our code Whiskey20. Get you 20% off. And give all of your nether regions a break, man. It's vacation time for the boys. These things are comfortable. You're riding. Your butt's not going to get all chafed. These things are awesome. And guess what? They don't just make underwear. No. Tees, hats, beanies, sweatshirts, shorts. For kids, ladies, toddlers, old people, everybody, you name it, they make them. You know what else they make? Moto gloves. I didn't even know that. I just found it out. So get over to Ethica.com. Check them out. These guys are awesome. Whiskey20. Use our code. Don't cheat me now. Get 20% off and put your buns in the best undies around. Ethica.com. The Whiskey Throttle Show is a proud partner of Factory Effects, a leader in the power sports industry for over 30 years. Factory Effects specializes in officially licensed products with everything you need to upgrade your bike, including graphics, seat covers, and accessories. They also offer the largest line of officially licensed OEM casual wear for Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, and Suzuki, so you can rep your brand on and off the bike. In the garage or at the track, Factory Effects has you covered with a full line of OEM garage and track gear, from bike stands and tie-downs to bike mats. Factory Effects is truly made for the ride. And right now you can save 25% off your order by using the discount code WT26 at factoryeffects.com. Nano Extreme is a proud partner of the Whiskey Throttle Show, and we're glad to have them. This product has changed the way folks are dealing with pain, whether it's chronic or acute, and doing it in a completely natural way. When pain strikes, whether it's from sore muscles, stiff joints, or arthritis, finding fast and effective relief is a top priority. That's where Nano Extreme comes in. Capsaicin, derived from chili peppers, is a natural compound known for its ability to block pain signals and provide long-lasting comfort. Whether you're suffering from arthritis, joint pain, or muscle pain, capsaicin cream works by desensitizing pain receptors in the affected area, giving you targeted relief where you need it most. Consistent application can lead to better joint function, less muscle soreness, and improve overall comfort in your arthritis, making it a must-have for anyone dealing with chronic pain. So stop living in pain or taking regular NSAIDs and other anti-inflammatories that aren't good for you. Get Nano Extreme and stop the pain. The Whiskey Throttle Show is proud to partner with El Jefe Energy. Whether we're throwing a leg over a bike to go riding or covering Supercross races and nationals, El Jefe keeps us firing. Early mornings at the track, long motos, or late nights wrenching in the garage, El Jefe brings the goods and 200 milligrams of caffeine to the party. Visit eljefe.com to check out all the flavors they have available, or go to your local convenience store and pick up a can. El Jefe Energy is fuel for the fearless. Welcome back. That was your Troy Lee Designs timeout. If you guys had not seen all of the new summer line from Troy Lee Designs, checked out their helmet paint department. You can get custom lettering, numbers, or a complete custom helmet. They've got all their new mountain bike stuff out. Troy Lee makes really, really high quality stuff. We're glad to have them as a partner and longtime friend of mine. So appreciate that company and what they do. Back here, let's jump back in with 81. So you can kind of tell, just following along here, 76 was a great year. Then it's like you had injury, you had a couple of kind of team things go sideways, and a lot of frustration. And I think at the time that was pretty common, like bikes broke a lot. Mm-hmm. But if you got on a run of a few years of this, it can definitely wear you out. Mm-hmm. And you could tell you were like just looking for a change, something different. So tell me how that happens in 81.
Well, 81, I didn't want to quit, right? So, I mean, I was still young, I think 25, 26. Yeah. But I was being seen as over the hill, I think, by the factory teams. I think they thought, well, you had your shot, but now you're not good anymore. And social media, they didn't probably know what was going on. But anyway, the only thing I could get in 81 was full-on privateer, go buy motorcycles and support myself. So I did. I went to the first national in Hangtown on production Yamaha. But I was working with some pretty good engine builders and suspension guys, and I had that bike working really well.
Yeah, you podiumed.
Yeah, I got third.
Yeah.
First national. And then Yamaha and Suzuki approached me, wanted me to be their production test guy. Well, at the races, ride production bikes, race. And I was like, I don't want to do that because I want a works bike. I think I can still win.
Yeah.
But I didn't have no choice, so I took I knew what the Yamaha was capable of because I was racing one, but it was highly modified. And I wasn't real happy with the suspension. So I tested the Suzuki, and that's the first time I believe that they had their full floater single shot.
Yeah.
And that suspension was like mind-blowing compared to my Yamaha. It wasn't very fast, but I thought, well, I could sneak making the thing fast, you know. So I ended up going to the Suzuki, and I raced it the next race, which was Saddleback.
Okay.
And it was slow. It was real slow.
And they wouldn't let you do any engine modifications?
I didn't even ask, but I know they didn't want me to.
Okay.
So after the race, I started to, I forget where I took the cylinder and head, but started to try to make it faster. And it wasn't getting any faster. So that really held me back that year because no more hole shots, you know.
Yeah.
And then to move up was even harder. But I was running pretty good at the end of this 250 Nationals. Do you have results of that?
Yeah. So, yeah, you started out February, it's Supercross, lots of right around 10th. And then as we got into 500 Nationals, you were second at Sunshine Speedway, 5th at Washougal, and then like 11th at Lakewood, 14th at Sears Point, Broome, there was a 17th. So I had some up and downs.
Then I didn't finish the last one or two Nationals. High Point and then Florida.
High Point was the last one, sorry, yeah. Southwick, 4th at Road Atlanta, 6th at Southwick, and then 14th at High Point. Those were your last. Or maybe, was San Diego the last one?
No.
Was there a Supercross?
I remember High Point and then Florida was the last National.
Okay.
So I broke my collarbone the second moto at High Point, and I couldn't race, obviously, Florida. So I believe I was in 4th overall in the series,
Okay.
and then dropped to 9th because it was real close.
Yeah.
Not finishing the last moto and racing Florida, from the best of my memory. And then we went in a Trans Am Circuit series. They had me in the support class on a 250, and it was a prototype bike, which was really fast. But the mechanic I had, which I hired, was didn't know how to jet the bike, and I didn't know nothing about jetting. And anyway, we couldn't get the thing running right most of the time. So I didn't have a great showing on it the rest of the year either. But I became good friends with Graham Noyce at the time, and he was racing GPs. He was 81 world champion, actually. So he said, you should come to Europe, man. You should come to Europe. It's great. I'll get you set up and help you out, get you some sponsors, get you start money. And I thought, yeah, because nobody's giving me opportunity here. At least maybe I can get a better opportunity over there in Europe. So that's what motivated me to go over there.
How did you get to know Graham?
When he was racing Trans Am, we just happened to talk in the pits and stuff, and
Okay.
became friends. And I said, you can stay at my house when we're down in California. So we became good friends.
He was kind of wild.
Yeah.
I mean, that was his reputation anyway.
Yeah.
We had him on the show
Oh, yeah?
maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And most people can't understand a word he says.
He's such a
They turn the
accent.
interview off because his accent's so thick. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty heavy duty. I mean, I'm sitting listening going, I'm not going to like read his lips. I'm like, okay, what's he saying?
He was so much fun, though. He's really funny.
Yeah. Oh, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
Even when I chatted with him, just great sense of humor and a lot of good stories, but
Yeah.
hard to understand. Okay, so, you know, he tells you to come over. Tell me what happens and how that worked.
Well, he stayed in America at my house for quite a while. We were training partners, and what was a problem, bad luck, is I ended up getting sick with some kind of cold. And my mentality, this was in January, my mentality was, I'm just going to train this cold right out of me, you know. I backed it down on my training, but I kept training. And it turned into a really deep-seated chest infection and head cold, and just would not go away. So I ended up, me and Marty Motes got an opportunity to race La Touquet in France, sponsored by Motocross Marketing. They flew us over there. They had big bore Kawasaki's for us to race, and we were racing the La Touquet race, which was 1,200 motorcycles lined up
This is the sand race, right?
Yeah.
Beach race.
Beach race. And we tested the bikes before the race, and I didn't know nothing about jetting, and the mechanics that we had didn't know nothing. So we ended up not getting it jetted right. And in the start, I mean, you're going 120 down the beach. It was a big, wide beach, but with the water at low tide. But there was potholes in the beach you had to be careful about. And we had to start in this front wheel in a ditch. And there was big lineup, and there was bikes behind. We were started, I think the open bike started on the front line. I'm going down the beach at 120, tucked in. It was probably a good mile, if not more. And the bike seized.
Wow.
So I pull in the clutch, coast to a stop. Luckily, nobody hit me because I was up towards the front.
Terrifying.
And everybody cleared, and I thought, oh, fuck. And I noticed it would kick over. It actually started back up. It was, what do they call that? It's
like a 4-point seize or...
Yeah, it wasn't a full seize. So I start off, and by the time I got to the sand dunes, everybody was at a dead stop. But anyway, I did the best I could. I kept moving up. When I come by the pit area, they would cheer me on, and I had to stop for fuel. We had a big tank on it, but it was 3 hours, so I had to stop for fuel halfway through. I had about 1 or 2 laps to go, and wouldn't you know it seized again on the same place. So I'd push it back. It wouldn't start this time, and they found me and helped me, but that was the La Touquet race.
Yeah, interesting. That always, like for a minute, I go, oh, this looks cool. And then after you watch it for a little bit, all those roadblocks on the sand hills and stuff, I'm like, nah.
If you started up front, it would have been great, Even though by the time you caught the roadblocks, they would be spreading out. They wouldn't be as bad.
Yeah, maybe.
So, go ahead.
I'd just rather listen to you guys tell stories about it. I don't think it's something for me. But anyway, all right, so you do that. And then were you over there full time? Were you living in the UK?
Yeah, by the time after that, I had to, let's see, where was that? I had to catch a train. I had to get on a train. They took me to the train station, obviously, and take a train to somewhere in France where motocross marketing was. Go straight there. And that's what we did. And then from there, I met them, talked to them, got on another train, and went to Germany.
Okay.
To where I was going to get my bikes and parts. And this whole time.
And you signed with Maico, is that right?
No, that was the next year.
Or that's the next year. Okay.
Yeah.
What were you on then? Hondas?
Honda.
Okay.
Riding production bikes out of Honda of Germany.
Okay.
And supposedly Graham set me up with a guy named Fred, and he was gonna give me a van, give me bikes and parts, and get me on my way. And then I was gonna go up to Genk, Belgium, where Graham lived, and he had me set up with his factory mechanic's brother was going to be my mechanic.
Okay.
So that was a weird ride on the train because everybody was stone-faced, it was like weird. And anyway, got to Honda, Germany. At the train station, it was a national holiday in Germany, and people were drunk. They were literally drunk in the train station.
Oh, yeah?
It was almost like everything was closed down, but not really. But everybody was partying.
Okay.
National holiday. In Germany, people love to drink beer. So, okay, well, this is what's going on. But there's nobody there to pick me up.
Oh. And
I find a payphone, figure out how to use it, and I call Honda Germany. I actually had their phone number, luckily. And some secretary finally answered the phone, and, well, Fred's not here. What would he be? The team manager is not there. The CEO of the distributorship, they're on vacation. Oh, So they don't know, and she doesn't know anything about me. So I get a taxi and I get a ride to Hanau, Germany, and show up. And it's a big party. It's people are walking. A few people are there walking around, and I run into one of their riders. His name is Manfred Schäuble, German rider. Luckily, he's a really nice guy. I tell him my situation. He didn't know anything about it, but he said, "Well, you can come and stay at my apartment with me."
All right.
Okay. And he was a lifesaver, man. He was a really nice guy. And while we're waiting for the distributorship to open again and the headquarters CEO guy to come back from vacation, I stay with him. He has one practice bike, and he says, you can ride my practice bike. We can take turns. So he takes me to tracks where we can practice, and we're taking turns riding his practice bike.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm still sick as a dog. But it comes and goes. Like, I never have good energy, but sometimes I feel kind of normal. But then other times, all I want to do is sleep. And I have this infection. I can tell it's in my chest. So we're doing that. And we're going and doing motos at these tracks and trading on and off and going places to eat. Obviously, he's a local guy, so he knows everything. And we're doing that for, I'd say it's at least a week before they open up again and everybody gets back. And in the meantime, he knows a sports medicine doctor, and he needed to go there anyway for something, injury. And he says he can look at your throat and stuff and tell you what's wrong. And he did, man. He knew all about this. And he knew because he trains cyclists, and he says a lot of times they get the same thing. It's a deep-seated viral and bacterial infection. And don't do anything that you don't have to do. Just rest, which was, okay, that's pretty much what I'm doing anyway. So, but he gave me this stuff called Globin. It boosts your immune system. And he gave me injections, and then he gave me pills. And he told me to take these, 3 times a day until they're gone. And that helped a lot. So we carry on.
So when this guy gets back, what does he say to you? Is he like, oh, yeah, sorry, or?
He knew nothing about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know where the communication got lost, but he knew nothing about it.
Okay.
I never got to meet Fred right away. And but he said, we'll see what you can do. One of their team riders above, like, I guess better than Manfred, had an injury, and he couldn't ride or race for a while. So we'll give you his bike and mechanic and team box van, and you can go do some international races, and we'll see what happens from there.
Okay.
So I got to go out and test his bike, and we went to a track that was frozen solid. It was really cold. And on my first lap of testing his bike, there was a kind of downhill off camber with these little ruts in it, but they had ice in the bottom of the rut, and they weren't very high, so I slid out and snapped the gear shift off. I got it in neutral, got it to start, had enough gear shift to get it in gear and ride back to the truck. And they didn't know what happened, so I explained to them. They spoke broken English, but they could understand. I'm thinking in my head, I must look like an idiot. They don't think I can even ride, But they put a new gear shifter on, and I went out and I rode a lot and looked really good, I guess. They were happy. Big smiles on their faces when I come back to the truck. So they told that to the CEO, and then I went to some international races and did really well.
Okay.
Broke a shock spring at one. Luckily, I rode a lot of winter races in hare scrambles, so I could ride on frozen ground and icy tracks pretty good. And did well enough that they wanted to support me.
Okay.
There was a lot of wild times in between there where we stayed in a motel, and there was a big party, and the CEO was there, and the whole Honda Germany, everybody that worked was there. Manford and I wasn't drinking or anything. We went to our motel room and went to sleep and got in bed. And in the middle of the night, right after that, this big German guy, drunk, comes into our room. I don't know, maybe we didn't lock the door or something. Sat down on my bed and started to fall back on me to go to sleep. I'm in the bed. I'm like, trying to get out from under him. He was out snoring, and Manford and I got each end of the blankets and got him wadded up, and we carried him off of the bed and put him on the floor and started dragging him out of the room. He's still sleeping.
Oh, my God.
We got him in the hallway, halfway in and out of the door, and he sat up, looked side to side, didn't say anything, just got up and walked off down the hallway and was gone.
Oh, boy.
It was so funny. We were laughing.
That's
Stuff
hilarious.
like that happening. And then it was time for me to leave and go to Genk. And I finally met Fred. And he took me down to the parts department. And he was only supposed to give me one bike and a few spare parts. And they called at USA because Honda left a van there to see if I could use that van. And they said, okay. So I have the van. Freddie's starting to load up the truck. He said, I think you need more than one bike. He gave me 2 bikes, brand new. Gave me a spare engine, spare wheels, so many spare parts, it was unreal. So I was pumped on that.
How was the bike?
It was good. It was a 380 production Honda.
Okay.
But they were good that year,
Okay.
you know. But, yeah, so anyway, I get directions from Graham, and I get to his house in Genk. He sets me up with, introduces me to his mechanic, Francois, which had a workshop in the bottom of his house, and his brother, Jeff. And we got all set up. Francois gave me Works Showa forks, and he knew a really good pipe builder and gave me a Works pipe, which made a big difference.
Okay.
Got me set up to test with Olean's factory shocks with Olean's. So we're going out and testing. And I never really tested much before, but I started to learn about testing.
Okay.
And telling them what they could see what the bike was doing, but I was learning. And then got all that dialed in. And Jeff and I started to go to international races, which was all over France and Belgium and Holland. And Graham set me up with his agent that got me start money. So we were on our way.
Okay. How was it going?
Good. It was awesome. I was the only thing I was doing as far as training was riding a motorcycle. A lot of times after that,
Excuse me.
I was sleeping most of the day. I was still really exhausted.
Still recovering.
Recovering, yeah. But getting better.
Okay.
So we did okay at international races. Actually won some. It was usually top 3. And then it was time to start the GPs, right? The first one was in the north of France. And it was really muddy in practice. And there was so much racing and practice. There was so much practice that Friday, if you rode as much as you wanted to, you could ride for hours.
Yeah.
And after all the practice sessions, there was timed practice. And then that was it for the Saturday. So I wanted to save myself after time practice. So I went out early and laid down some fastest laps I knew were fast enough to qualify. And it was pretty much one line, the track, because it was so muddy. Mm-hmm. Well, which was a miscalculation, a big mistake in my mind that I did. I thought, well, I need to save myself for tomorrow. So I got undressed and didn't ride anymore in time practice. I can't remember I think there was only one time practice. I don't remember. Maybe there was, just one, I think. But it was long. Well, when I went out to watch the rest of time practice, just right by the pits, my heart just sunk because I realized, oh shit, the track is getting a lot faster.
It's getting better, yeah.
It's getting tackier now. Long story, I didn't qualify. I just missed it by 1 position. But I was the first alternate on the next morning. So I had to go out. I got to go out and ride time practice and time practice to see if I could qualify. I was 10th fastest in all of practice, time practice with everybody. But I was still the first alternate. So I got to go to the line in the first moto, and if somebody didn't show up, I got to race. Well, guess what? Everybody showed up. So my first race, where I'm going to make a name for myself in Europe, went south big time. It was pretty devastating, but that's where it went. That's what happened.
Yeah, well, it's just different procedures and things like that. So you learned that lesson the hard way.
It was just that bad call on not finishing, not going back out in time practice. Cost me big time.
Yeah. Okay, so how did the rest of the series go?
Well, next race was in Holland, bottomless sand track, and parts of the track they just left from race to race. There was a 5th gear straightaway that was, if you went down in the bottom of it, sitting on your bike, nobody could see the top of your head.
That's how deep the whoops were.
And they were real far apart. So the fast way was enter it real fast, jump off of the first one. You couldn't jump them, but you could get your wheel to the top of the second one and keep your speed up to the top of the next, top of the next, top of the next, all the way across them, they were long. Anyway, in practice on Saturday, I went over the bars, but it was in the sand. I didn't get hurt. My wrist was a little sore, but didn't get hurt. Thought I finished. And that night, my wrist just got so painful, and I could hardly move it. I thought, shit, this is pretty sore. This is weird. Woke up the next morning, couldn't hardly move it. Couldn't even button my pants with that wrist. I don't know what it did. It wasn't even swollen. It was just, it didn't work. So not a good start to the series. Luckily, Honda had like a sports guy there that was really, really good with wrapping, with tape and stuff. So he made my cast, my right arm, throttle side. He made it like a cast. And it still hurt like hell in practice. And at one time I stopped by my mechanic and said, I don't think I'm going to be all right. But it wasn't getting any worse. It just was sore and stiff. But I said, I'll try to ride again. So I did, and it was good enough. I could ride. So I did all the riding I needed to do. I qualified, did all that. And Sunday morning, that's when my wrist was really bad. So that was practicing Sunday morning. But I rode good. I could ride. Anyway, it's just hard to pull up these memories because it's so long ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah. End up, I'm going to ride. And after the practice, we could practice some starts. And I noticed in the starting area was a big open area, and then you went into the woods. And you were all in the woods until you came back into the open area. There was a few turns out there. I noticed the soil on the start was like hard-packed grass, sand, that I could use all the power on that 380 to come out of the chute as hard as I could. And I thought it was really hooking up good. I thought, I got a chance to get the whole shot here, I think. Because the works bikes had so much power, they couldn't use all the power. It wasn't automatic all power. So anyway, long story, I got to, it was time to go up to staging. And my bike wouldn't start. It wouldn't start. Kick it. It wasn't starting. My mechanic kicking it. Everybody's up in staging already. My bike isn't starting. So we had to push start it. And that wasn't working either until finally it push started. And by this time, I'm already wore out because I don't have much energy anyway. Yeah. But it fired me up. My back was against the wall. I was so pissed that I was going to get the whole shot and go as hard as I possibly could. And I did. I got the whole shot. I got the lead. I just rode as hard as I could, as fast as I could. And I had, 15 minutes into the race, I had a 15-second lead. I'm getting chalkboard 15 seconds plus. But started to get tired, man.
Yeah.
And I just knew I had to start pacing myself and being smooth. And I ended up sixth place in the first moto. So that was a lifesaver. And I was so spent after the first moto, I remember having an energy bar, laying down with my feet up on a chair until it was time to go to the start again. And I realized I got to get a good start and I got to pace myself. I did. I think I got 10th in the second moto. Ended up 9th or 10th overall.
Okay.
Actually got some points because they paid down to 10th. So I was so tired after the race, I could barely walk around without starting to throw up, man. I was so spent. But I managed to keep everything down, and I was going to be okay. And I went to sleep like a rock that night, knowing that, hey, I'm back in it. I still have a chance, So it was awesome, man. I had that belief back.
And who was winning that year?
Lackey won the title. I ended up winning the title.
Okay.
And he was really fast. Andre Vromans was fast.
Yeah.
Andre Miller. Who else? That was the main guys that I can remember that were usually winning races. And
Vromans and Lackey battled for that one, right?
Yeah, they came down to battling it out.
Okay, so the Honda thing worked out actually okay. It's a rough start at the beginning there. So then what happened the following season?
Well, the rest of that season, it's worth mentioning that Roger persuaded them to get me works bikes. On the way to one race, our van broke down, and it was Sittendorf, Austria. And I got the whole shot, was leading on the production bike and holding up Andre and Graham behind me. They couldn't pass me forever. And I didn't know it, but the team from Japan was wondering what's going on. How come our riders aren't winning? Because they weren't doing as good as they were expected to do. So they sent one of the top guys from Japan to find out what's going on. He was out on the track giving me a pipboard sign. He wasn't in the mechanics area. He was just standing there at the end of the straightaway where I could see this guy standing there with a pipboard sign and before the turn. And he was telling me, slow down, let Graham pass, let Miller pass. I never read his chalkboard. I didn't even know who he was. So I kept holding him up. After the first moto, he doesn't come down and talk to me. He sends one of his guys come down and talk to me. How come you didn't move over to let them pass? And I was like, why would I do that? I'm riding for Honda Germany. I'm not sponsored by Honda Japan. And so he told me why and all this stuff. And the guy threatened to have my bikes taken away from Honda Germany and all this shit. And I was like, oh, well, whatever, So I held him up again, second moto. And in the meantime, I had already been talking to Roger to try to get works bikes. And Roger was pulling some strings to get me Neus's 81 works bike.
Okay.
And they had tons of parts left over. Ended up getting the works bike. It was like a new bike, factory bike. And got to test it before the next race.
Much better than what you had?
Oh, yeah. Much better, much faster before the next race in Italy. In the meantime, I had to go to Honda of Germany to meet this guy that came over from Japan and talk to him and get my works bikes with my mechanic, Jeff. And I come into his office, and I didn't know, how to be real polite and do all this stuff. And so I'm sitting on the edge of his desk and talking to him. He got pissed, it tells me, sit down and just got insulted by it. I didn't know, so I started being more polite and explaining my point of view, and he told me what I was supposed to do. We can give you this works bike if you agree that when Andre or Graham are behind you, you have to let them by. And I said, well, if they're not catching me, I don't have to let them by, right? He said, no. So I was okay with that. So that's the way that all went. And before that race, before I even went there, I got 5th overall in Sweden on my production bike. So at that race in Italy, I ended up 3rd in the first moto, and Lackey couldn't pass me, which was their whole idea. That Jap guy was, I don't remember his name, sorry, but he was so excited he handed me a check, a personal check, a check from Honda, and was happy. So that's the way we finished out the rest of that year, and I ended up winning. 2nd overall in Canada was my highest overall, and ended up 7th overall in the series.
Okay.
And it's worth noting that Kawasaki approached me, and they wanted me as their number 1 guy in '83. And I didn't try to go to anybody else because they had me sign a tentative contract. I went back to America being happy about it. And then I started to reach out and say, hey, you're supposed to send the contract and the official contract. I haven't got it yet. What's going on? He was never available to talk to me. And I kept calling, and I finally got through to him. And he was, oh, yeah, well, Honda of Japan, Kawasaki Japan isn't supporting us this year, so it's all coming out of our distributorship in England, and we already have all our riders. No ride. Had to go to Maico.
Okay. So that's a bummer. I'll tell you what, I've heard more stories, this is obviously 83, this is going back a long time, but even currently, guys that go over there and then don't get paid. Bob Moore, Mike Brown, the stories just keep happening of the Lawrences, they got stiffed for a year because they had visa issues. It just seems really common over there.
I didn't know that. I thought a man is as good as his word. When he says that and he gives you a tentative contract, it's a signed deal. It's a deal.
Well, it should be.
Yeah.
But that's not how they operate. So
yeah. Well,
beware.
I found out the hard way.
So then how did you put a deal together with Maico?
Through a Maico dealership in the States. I was obviously living in California. John Savinsky, which was a brother of Lackey's mechanic, Steve Savinsky, had a Maico. He knew how to tune it up with a special carburetor and 490, and I rode it, and it was good. It was good. I thought, I could race this thing. So I had a deal with Maico of Germany as a factory ride on it. They were going to do the whole 9 yards. They said the same thing to Billy Grossi. So Billy and I flew over there to Honda, Germany. I keep saying Honda. I'm so familiar with that.
Yeah, Maico.
Maico, Germany. We get to the factory. They don't have bikes for us. They don't have any transportation for us. We're kind of on our own. I bring over my American mechanic, and he has to put bikes together for us. And we start racing international races. No support. And this van, it was way bigger than a van. They have special ones over there.
Yeah.
Was ready to break down on the way to the races. We start riding international races, and when I went out to practice, literally every time I got on that Maico, something broke. So we couldn't fix it. We didn't know why. I think, in hindsight, the swing arm would flex and chain would come off. Didn't have that problem in the States. I don't know why I was having it over there. So
Kawasaki had that problem for years, actually.
Yeah.
Lackey dealt with that for a bit. not totally uncommon back then. Everything would move so much and wiggle, you'd derail chains.
So before the first race even for the GPs even was a thing that we had to go to, I wasn't going to go because I didn't know if the truck would get there, and I knew the bike wouldn't stay together. So I didn't even go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then just kind of the whole year went that way?
I had to go back on my knees to Honda and ask for a production bike, Honda Germany. They said they'd give me one. So I had to buy another one. And I started racing production bikes, the Hondas again.
Okay.
It just didn't go well. The mechanic I had didn't know how to, he knew how to change parts, but he didn't know how to make the bike better. Yeah. And we had jetting problems. We had transmission brake. That year, the Hondas were breaking third gear in the trannies. And towards the end of the series, we couldn't even get third gears anymore. So I finished out, but it wasn't good.
Frustrating, huh?
Yeah, more frustration.
What were the tracks like over there?
Awesome. Loved them.
Yeah?
Yeah. Natural terrain. Had some man-made jumps, but not a lot. Got really rough, high speed. That's where you had to have good suspension. Mm-hmm. And if you didn't have like works level suspension, you couldn't be competitive. Mm-hmm. Against the works bikes, they were faster.
Yeah.
Just
another level.
A whole another level, yeah.
But you seem to adapt like even to the sand, okay. That sand is really weird. Just so deep.
Yeah, it is. A lot deeper than anything we have over in the States here. Yeah.
Okay, so in '84, you made kind of one last run at the GPs just as a privateer?
Yeah, totally privateer again.
And then you kind of have an interesting story, if I understand this right. You just kind of called it.
Yeah.
During the season, you said, no, headed home.
Yeah. Yeah, again, I had bike issues. A mechanic that I hired that was from over there, again, was great parts changer, make the bike look good, but didn't know how to fix problems. We had stiction and forks problems that he didn't know how to fix, and I didn't know how to fix. Jetting problems, I didn't know anything about jetting. He didn't. And bike just wasn't performing. It was hard to compete on. And we're in Yugoslavia. Next race was going to be in Czechia. And I didn't know whether I wanted to go back to Belgium and throw in the hat or go to Czechia. So we came to a crossroads on the freeway where if we go left, we're going to Belgium. We go right, we're going to Czechia. I didn't know at the last minute, we're trying to decide. Well, I had the final decision, and I said, go left at the last minute, at the last second. So we went back to Belgium. I sold everything that I had bought, kind of partied with the college kids because they were on break now, and they had a good time. Got everything sold. Went back to America figuring that's the end of my career right there. And it was.
Yeah.
At that level.
Were you okay with it? I mean, or was it a tough decision?
It was a tough decision. I didn't feel good about it, but it was like, I'm not going to keep spending money to try to get back to the top level.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. So that was it.
Yeah. And that was when, if you didn't have a works bike, especially this 83, 84 time, that's when Honda and HRC got really good.
Yeah.
And so
they did.
If you're trying to compete on a production bike against that, you're at a huge, huge disadvantage.
And I already went through that in America, right? With the production bike there towards the end of my career in America. So I wasn't going to do that again.
Yeah. Okay, so you come home, you're back to Ohio, and you started coaching riders. That was just kind of jumped right into that, huh?
Yeah, well, I was living in California, so I was back.
You still were?
I was back to California doing that. And I was doing schools, but it was in the back of my mind, starting to do some schools, private lesson schools and stuff like that. I didn't really think I wanted to do that for a career. And I didn't have any idea what I wanted to do for a career, so I started to be a sales rep for seat racing products, and I thought I would get more products. Honestly, David, I did that for about 2 weeks, and I realized that this just wasn't me. I just didn't gel with that.
Yeah.
Being naive, I wanted to do something totally different. I wanted to get away from motorcycling because the last several years was just real frustration.
Yeah.
And didn't have any desire to do it. But I did have a bike that I'd ride once in a while, just a ride for fun. And I thought, well, why don't I get into acting? I'll be an actor. Very naive, but thinking, why couldn't I do that, you know? So I actually went to acting school. They had a place in Costa Mesa. And I was still living in Carlsbad, so I drive up there in my Porsche. I had a Porsche, and trying to be an actor, didn't know what I was doing. But it was nerve-wracking. They had a studio. It was like a movie theater, but a lot smaller. They had a stage up front, slanted seating, and they had these. You'd get a script to do with another actor, and you would practice it at home and read it and memorize it, and then get up in front of the little stage and other actors, and we had a coach, and we'd do our little scenes up there, and it got to be pretty fun. And
yeah, I didn't know that about you. So more difficult than you thought?
Yeah, and it just wasn't what I would have a passion to do.
Yeah.
You know, it was just something new and kind of fun.
You have to be very outgoing and almost like no humility. That's what to be a good actor, right? You have to just, you can't be worried at all what anyone's thinking.
No, you have
right?
to give up your personal identity and become this actor. No matter what your script is, you have to be that actor.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I wasn't really good at that, I guess. And I moved on. They would have casting agents coming into the studio and watching us, and you know, I guess I was good enough to get an agent they recommended to me and go out on auditions, and I got a couple day jobs on soap operas, and I landed a job at Universal Studios on the live action tour where I worked for a year and a half, making good money, and it just happened to be dirt bike riding. I had to ride dirt bikes on the stage that they had a big setup.
Okay.
Universal Studios.
Yeah.
We worked half a week. We'd be 3 days on, 4 days off, 4 days on, 3 days off. Could do what we wanted the rest of the time. So it was good money.
So why'd you give up on that? Just wasn't
I
you?
I really didn't enjoy doing it. I didn't really like it.
Okay.
And by this point, I was given, I don't want to do acting anymore. And they were changing the cast from the A-Team live action show to Miami Vice, and I didn't even try out for it. I didn't want to do it anymore.
Gotcha.
I moved back to Orange County. I bought a couple motorcycles and started riding dirt bikes and racing local and doing schools, and was happy again.
Okay.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, it's hard to, just quit riding cold turkey. Guys that try that struggle, seems like.
Yeah.
So how did you really seems like found a lucrative kind of loophole there with video. Doing riding schools is great, but it's like you've got to go to where the people are. So it ends up being a lot of travel if you want to make a lot of money that way.
Yeah.
Where the videos, if you can produce a good video, well, now you can distribute it globally.
Right. And I know exactly what you're true, 100%. And that's what I was going through. I didn't really enjoy traveling all this time ways and doing these group classes. And the money was pretty good, but it wasn't great, you know. So I considered doing videos. At that time, it was VHS tapes. Produced my first one with the help of a motocross fan that worked in that area. And made our first video in 91. I was teaching a lot by that time, and I did study Gary Bailey's videotapes to learn, okay, well, how do I even teach? You know, it gave me a starting point.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of went off from that and made my own way of teaching and put that into my videos. and made my first 3 videos in 3 years. And then I got I had trained Jeremy when he was 16, and nobody really knew about him when I lived in California. David Procida was a freelancer for Cycle News, hooked us up. He told me about Jeremy. He said, this guy's got a lot of talent. You need to train him. So I did some free private lessons for him and kind of stayed in contact with him. When he was a Team Green rider, excuse me, he was about 18 or 19, riding for Team Green and getting pretty good, obviously. But nobody really knew about him that much. I stayed with him because I moved to back to Ohio in '89, but I'd still go out to California during the winter. And I stayed with Jeremy at his parents' house for a while and helped him, training-wise and stuff like that. Anyway, he liked what I was doing. He came back to Ohio with me, not with me, but I picked him up at the airport when I was living back there again and trained him for a while. And he liked what I did, helped him a lot. We just clicked, we rode together, trained together, had a good time. And after he won a Supercross title, he called me out of the blue and wanted me to come to California to train him. And I went out there in November of '94 for about 3 or 4 months and got him ready for Supercross season. And he really wanted me especially for the outdoors, to get him in shape for outdoors. And that worked out really well. He did better in the outdoors. He won the title in '95. So he liked what I did. He wanted me to bring me out each year and do that. And that's what I did. And it helped my video sales immensely. And I kept producing more videos. And, when I was in Ohio, I bought some land, raw land, like 50 acres, built a track, house, outbuildings, equipment, the whole 9 yards, and did schools. And then I'd go in the winter, go out, train Jeremy.
Okay.
So that was...
Worked out nice.
The start of... At one point, I think it was in around '89, I decided, if I really put all my effort into these motocross schools, I think I can do well. And started getting serious about it. In '89, started franchising more instructors to work under me. And then certified instructors. I've traveled to Australia. I did go to Australia and New Zealand to race and do schools. But Argentina a lot. And got certified instructors down there.
Okay.
And right now I have 12 certified instructors in 6 different countries. And, I went from producing DVDs to streaming platforms. I went through 3 companies for streaming platforms and had over 140 techniques videos. And it just took the technique of riding motocross to a whole new level. It was a whole science, about how to do it. I got really interested in that. And while I was still in my 30s and 40s and could ride pretty good, I would study the new riders each generation of what they were doing on the bike. I had a keen eye to identify little things that other people wouldn't see, and tested them on myself and then put them in my videos, and just took up my energy. That's something that I could put my energy into, riding, and
something you're passionate about.
Yeah, I got passionate about it, exactly. Because I had a lot of energy I had to expand. Use up. I couldn't just idle and not do much.
Yeah. Well, that's how most moto guys are. If you were successful at all, you're pretty type A.
Yeah.
You're
you
not
gotta
a
be
guy that lays
busy.
around. Yeah.
Right.
When I remember seeing you, it's funny, like my first memory of you is probably 94 or 95 working with Jeremy. Yeah. And I'd see you guys out here in the winter because I lived just right up the road, and we'd ride at his track every once in a while with him.
Right.
So it's just interesting to hear how you got to there.
And I know you from, I remember you when you were teammates with Brock, because I trained Brock when you guys were on KTMs.
01. Well, we were teammates in 98 at FMF Honda.
Oh, okay.
And then again in 01 at KTM.
That was, okay. That must have been when I first met you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, so you're right. We've crossed paths multiple times. What are the riders you work with outside of Jeremy?
Well, from Jeremy, the next guy was Kevin Windham, and then Ezra. John Dowd was early on. Who else was? Mike Brown, Stefan Roncada, Brandon Jesselman, Villapoto. All the riders that I trained have won 21 national or Supercross titles. So Jeremy was the first guy. So other riders, I guess, had confidence in me and either approached me or I approached them. Had to clear it with Jeremy though, because Carmichael wanted me to. The team manager for Kawasaki at the time, you probably know his name.
Bruce Sternstrom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He contacted me, wanted me to train Ricky, and I had to run it by Jeremy, and he was the only rider that Jeremy said, "Nah, I don't want you training him." So
I can see why.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the sport was missing that, and Johnny O came in, and now he's obviously built a good career there. But guys that have been there, done that, just carry a lot more validity than some guy who never raced professionally, but he's a coach now, right? I just have a hard time with that. You're trying to train professional guys. You have to know what it's like.
Exactly. I understand that. And I think that's why a lot of these riders got led down the wrong path with doing too much cycling and weightlifting and strength training when, man, you got to ride a motorcycle. And you not just hammer out motos. You have to get better and more comfortable. Like you said, it has to be an extension of your body.
Yeah.
Your nervous system, an extension. You feel everything so acutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ricky would say he could feel pebbles under his front tire.
Yeah.
And I was like...
You only get that from a hell of a lot of riding.
And I can confirm that he did a lot of riding. So anyway, it's interesting. So what are your thoughts on kind of the progression of the sport? You've seen it from, really the birth of it here in America, for the most part, to present day, and you're still a fan, just went to a national. So I'm just curious where we talked a little bit about riding technique, but just the sport itself going, now back to 4 strokes, right? Because it started as with 4 strokes, then went 2, and now it's back to 4, and now we're staring at electric. And I think it's coming. If you listen to the Honda people, they told me the HRC head guy over there basically said 5 to 8 years, it'll all be electric. And I was like, whew.
I know a lot of people don't like that. They don't want that.
A lot of people don't like it.
Yeah.
The thought of not having the sound and smells and
that's part of it,
It's a big part of it.
Big part of it, yeah.
But like it or hate it, this is it's coming. So that's what I'm just saying. I'm just trying to get your take on the progression and perspective of it all. I mean, even the 4 strokes, I think a lot of people hated it initially. Now they love it because they're easier to ride.
Yeah.
I don't have to mix oil in my gas. There's a lot of things about it that are nice.
Yeah.
It covers up mistakes, it allows you to go much faster with less technique.
Yeah.
As a everyday weekend warrior rider, right?
I know, but if you think about it more realistically, do we need to go faster? If we were on all equal equipment, it would still be really good racing, right?
Yeah. And ultimately, outside of the professional level, we just do this because we want it to be fun. Right? That's why we got started in it.
Right.
And whether you're riding pit bikes with your buddies, or you're riding 125 2 strokes, or you're riding a 450, if everyone's on equal equipment, it's still fun.
Yeah.
So why did we make it more expensive, more complex, and now we're closing riding areas down because of sound, and we just, they'll tell you, well, the market demanded it. It's like, did it? CARB really forced the hand on these manufacturers, and they went that direction. And I don't know that I think it's been probably a net negative for our sport.
I would agree, because it's more complicated to work on the bikes. Now you can't do it with your dad, most people. And it's a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the next step, the electric, it's like there is no working on your bike. No air filters. You don't replace anything in the engine or motor. You just put lube on your chain and check your tire pressure, and you go. So that's, on the one hand, that's nice. I'm not going to complain about not having to do air filters.
And you're not going to have the noise issues.
No noise. Yeah. So that's maybe good, but
yeah, there's cons and pros and cons.
Yeah.
On both of it.
And the performance is there. All these people that say, "Oh, if that happens, I'm quitting." I'm like, they're
things
fun.
They're too fast.
They're too fast. Yeah.
Yeah. A friend of mine has a Stark, and I'm thinking, how do you even ride this thing? And it wasn't on the full power. It was the lowest power. It's just like a light switch. Yeah. The power's right there. I guess once you get used to it.
You get used to it, but it's still a lot. Even at 65, I don't know where you were riding it, but they'll usually start you at like 50 if you're an experienced rider, and just have it bump up in increments. And I like it about 65. So I've got 15 extra horsepower to play with.
Yeah.
If I want it.
Yeah.
And it's a lot, So they're fun to ride. But like, what's that going to look like from a Supercross, motocross perspective?
Yeah.
Professionally, it's going to be very odd. I don't think there's a lot of people that are excited about that.
I think it's worth talking about the safety issues in the sport, and making the bikes faster is making them more dangerous.
I agree.
I don't want to be that guy that says, nah, they should be slower. But some people smarter than I am, have to figure out how to make things safer in Supercross and obviously in motocross. And I don't know how to do that without taking away too much from the sport, from the excitement and the fans, But, man, it can't just keep getting faster.
No, and I say this, as a medic, we learn a lot about trauma and what causes it and the factors leading to it, and speed is the biggest factor. So you want to make it safer. Unadilla or whatever track, like Redbud, right? Let's say it's been around since the 70s. The layout hasn't changed that much, but the bikes are now way faster, right? So like maybe we need to start looking at tightening the tracks up a little bit so the speeds come down. I think you bring speed down, you're never going to make this a safe sport, but at least safer. Speed's a problem. Supercross and motocross. Look how fast these guys are going in Supercross now.
Oh, I know.
They can come out of a corner, jump 120 feet, and go into a set of whoops in fifth.
I think they should make 450s don't race Supercross anymore. It's 250s, up to 250. Because those bikes are still fast enough to be exciting racing.
They jump everything.
Yeah. But that's just my 2 cents. I don't know.
Well, yeah, the AMA is probably not going to listen to either one of us.
No.
So tell me about your family. You kids, wife, what's your...
Well, I kind of moved into a ready-made family.
Okay.
And it was because of one of my motocross schools. This crush I had on this girl in high school was, I wasn't going to go a freshman, go ask her. She's a senior. But she was just, I thought, really hot. You know? Well, she comes to my door when I'm in my early 40s to sign her son up for a motocross school.
Okay.
And she knew me, and I knew her. And, we talked. Long story short, he came to my school, and we talked at the school. And after the school, I said, hey, you want to go jump on I'll take you for a ride around the track. Okay. She got on. I was real nice. I wasn't going to scare her or anything. And we talked some more, and I said, you want to go out sometime? Do something? So anyway, we started dating and went on from there.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So you're still coaching the kid?
Well, he's 45 now.
Okay.
Yeah, he was about 13 at the time,
Oh, geez. Okay.
and he had a younger brother and older sister.
All right.
So now I have a stepdad to them, of course, and have 6 grandkids.
Dang.
From them.
That's great.
And we're living happily ever after, you could say.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there's been ups and downs. I was a full-on bachelor, didn't know how to be a family guy, and had to...
That takes some coaching.
Yeah. And she was patient with me and a good coach. So I got a hell of a lot better, I'll say that.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's what a good wife does.
Yeah.
What do you guys do for fun when you're not going to dirt bike races?
Just normal stuff. I ride bicycles a lot, mountain bike, road bike. Have a Triumph Bonneville that I like to ride. She doesn't want to ride with me anymore because she thinks it's too dangerous. And it is.
It is.
You know. And just other normal stuff. Go out with friends and parties a little bit, cookouts, stuff like that.
Okay.
David, he bought 30 acres from us when we sold our house and track and all that stuff, and he fixed it up. I put a big pond in down there.
David who?
Kilgore. That's my stepson.
Oh, okay.
Who was a motocross rider.
Oh, I remember the name Kilgore. That was him.
He has coached, we were talking about this, he has coached riders that have won close to 100 amateur national titles. The most popular is Handmaker, and then Gavin Towers, Luke Fowler, and a whole other slew of riders. And there's so many big amateur nationals, and if you win multiple classes, you just rack up championships. So it's amazing that there's been that many.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. And you guys at least have that in common.
Yeah.
That's fun. So it had to be fun bumping into your whole crew up there at Hangtown. I mean, did you see Lackey, and you said you saw Grossi and
Lackey, man, it was awesome. I stayed at his house before when we were racing. He stayed at the farm a lot, and so did all the other riders that were there.
Yeah.
So
good bumping in and old memories and
it was just like we never parted. We were just I was like, man, I can't believe how old you are. I wouldn't even recognize you. Because I was picking Ronnie Pomeroy was getting a rent-a-car. I was getting a rent-a-car and going to ride him from the airport. And he was landing about the same time I was. So I told him, he landed before me. I told him where to meet me, what baggage claim and everything. And I couldn't see him. I couldn't find him. I'm waiting for a long time. I called him. I said, where are you? And he told me the number of baggage claim he was at. And he was right there at the baggage claim. I still couldn't see him. We must have been 30 feet apart. And he's on the phone, and, oh, that's you.
Yeah.
Didn't even recognize each other. But when we started talking, it was like we never parted.
Yeah, it's funny. You see your friends from the past, and you go, man, he got old. And then you look in the mirror, and you're like, oh, I got old too.
Oh, no.
We're all old.
Yeah. It's weird. You don't realize how old you are when you see yourself in the mirror because you're so used to that image. But if you look at yourself in a photo, especially from the side, you're like, whoa, I look old.
Yeah, damn it. Gravity and time just kind of gets us all, doesn't it?
Yep. But everybody has to play the cards they're dealt, right?
That's it. I guess we're glad we're still here.
Yeah.
Hey, quick reminder to use our code WT26 with all of our partners. That'll get you guys a discount on anything. Our Rockform wrap-up question, you guys looking for phone cases, please check out Rockform. Great stuff. All kinds of handlebar mounts, car mounts. You can mount these things anywhere, all magnetic and locking. They're fantastic. Check them out. Use our code there as well. So our last question we ask everybody is how you want to be remembered in the sport.
By hanging in there so long, never giving up, always believing that I could still do really well. And, never giving up on myself. And then changing my whole outlook and vision on what I wanted to do from there. And finding a way to do it and, working hard and making it happen.
That's awesome. I did want to ask one other thing. Working with Jeremy, and you've worked with a lot of other guys who are really good, but was there something particular about his mindset or about him that made him so good? You know, it's like these really ultra elite guys like him and Carmichael and now Jet. I mean, what did you see in his just mental workings?
Well, that was a big part, and I learned from him because he had a way of being so calm and relaxed under pressure and making it fun. You know, he always kept a light outlook on it. He wasn't super serious and had to be, you know, really locked in. But I do admit that part of my helping him was keeping him on track, because as a young person, it's easy to get sidetracked and want to do things that, hey, this isn't really, for me to say, you know, this isn't really a good decision to do this right now, like going to Lake Havasu when you have a couple weeks off from racing and on your boat. And he was kind of bummed not to do that, but he realized that I was right and to keep working on his craft. And he could do that and be happy about it, you know. So having that ability to perform and still being lighthearted and easygoing was a special thing to have.
Yeah, it's you know, like I was listening over the weekend, the broadcast was talking about Seth Hamaker's whole thing right now is keep cortisol low.
That's good.
Right?
Good idea.
It's actually kind of brilliant, right? Like they were saying it kind of jokingly, and he obviously had that crash in the second moto, and they're like cortisol's high, but that cortisol it's true. I mean, you start to get stressed out, and it will shut your whole body down.
Yeah, you can't focus, you can't think right, you don't operate right.
Nothing works right.
Right.
It's like poison to your circuitry in your system, and so there is something to that. And I feel like Jeremy was able to just stay, like you said, really calm, and then incredibly confident. You could just look in his eyes. I remember watching him walk into the tunnel, you know, when our race would be over and I'm kind of leaving and they're coming in. And I would just look in his eyes and go, oh, man, these guys are done. Like, they don't have a chance. You could just see it in his face, you know.
He felt like he was going to win. You know, like we did. It's
here and there.
3% of our races. Yeah. He felt like that all the time.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Carmichael, any of the guys that are top champions, I call it your ideal performance state when your synapses, brain, chemical levels,
physical,
dopamine,
everything is right. Yeah.
Everything is right. Yeah.
Hey, real quick too, tell me about this jersey, because you pulled this out of a bag, brand new. So cool. Was this just an extra one you had from that year?
I had jerseys exactly like that, but they weren't printed on the back.
Okay.
And I have a friend in Ohio, Vert Moto.
Okay.
That does that kind of work and graphics and everything. And he put the name and numbers on the back. But that was my jersey in 78 on the Can-Am.
Yeah. It's super cool. We'll have to get a picture with you with that. So
thanks. Glad you like it.
Couple of little last-minute parting gifts here. Rockwell provided watches for all of our guests. This is a Whiskey Throttle Club watch.
Wow, awesome, man.
Be great for training and for whatever else. And then our partners at Nano Extreme. I don't know if you've tried this stuff. Have you tried this?
No.
Pain relief cream. It's incredible. So anything on you that
I
aches,
could use that.
I'm telling you, you're going to hit me up and go, wait, what was that stuff you gave me? It's amazing. Cool. It's got DMSO and arnica, some natural things that are good for anti-inflammation, you know. But it's incredible stuff. It actually penetrates to joints or muscles rather than just sitting on your skin and burning like Bengay or something. Really works. So enjoy that, courtesy of our friends at Nano Extreme. Use our code WT26 to save some over there if you guys are interested. It's I want to say it's life-changing, but it's pretty incredible. So if you're an old motocross guy and you got some sore spots, that'll help you.
I know right where I'm going to put it.
Well, thanks so much. It's just been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you.
I'm glad you made it out.
Yeah.
All right, guys, stick around. Hope you enjoyed Gary Semics. We'll be back to wrap up the show. Yamaha is the industry leader in two-wheeled fun and performance. Celebrating 50 years of YZ in 2024, the Blue Crew is still dominating shootouts and competitions. Yamaha, revs your heart. Troy Lee Designs is the leader in off-road motocross apparel and style. So whether you're looking for a cool new paint job for your helmet, maybe your name and number on your helmet lettered on, you're looking for new gear, you're looking for mountain bike gear, off-road gear. They've got the brand new Scout line and GP and SE models. Troy Lee Designs has it all. They've been leading this industry for decades, and they're going to continue to do it. Check out TroyLeeDesigns.com. The Whiskey Throttle Show is proud to be partnered with Factory Effects. These guys have been around the motocross industry for over 30 years, making really cool graphics, really high-quality materials with really excellent fitment on all the brands. So whether you guys have a motorcycle you want to dial in, or you need a new stand or some tie downs or whatever it is, Factory Effects has got you covered. And they've also got a bunch of officially licensed merchandise. So if you're a Yamaha guy, you can go over there and get some really cool Yamaha stuff. In fact, a lot of what you'll see me wearing here on the Whiskey Throttle Show is Factory Effects merchandise that's branded with Yamaha's logos. So check those guys out. Like I said, just a really cool company, and they've been around forever. These guys have been bleeding and sweating this sport for longer than a lot of people have been alive. So we're stoked to have them be a part of what we're doing, and they're giving us a really great deal for all of you guys, 25% off any order. All you've got to do is use our discount code, which is WT26. So go to factoryeffects.com, spelled factory, EFFEX.com, and use that code WT26 to get 25% off. We're all about supporting brands that support our sport. And there's one tire company that has never walked away from the sport of motocross and supercross, and it's Dunlop. When times got tough and the economy took a crash, Dunlop stepped up and stayed with our sport to support it and the athletes and individuals that love it. Their MX53 line and MX33 lines absolutely dominate this sport. Every national championship at the pro level has been won in the last decade, and nearly every single amateur national championship at Loretta Lynn's has been won on a Dunlop. So if you're looking for high performance, you're looking for amazing quality, and you're looking to support a brand that never turns its back on our sport, there's only one choice for you, and it's Dunlop. All right, Whiskey Throttle fam, we've got a sponsor here that I want to really encourage you guys to try, Element. If you haven't seen this stuff before, give them a check out on our Instagram bio. You can get in there. We've got a link that will give you free samples. You can go in and try this stuff. And this delivers just the right amount of electrolytes that you need when you're competing at all, especially if it's midsummer, humid. Think Loretta Lynn's, Nationals. You're sweating like crazy. This is the best way to replenish it, okay? Straight water is just going to flush more electrolytes out of your body, cause more cramping. You've got to get the electrolytes back in. This Element provides it in the perfect package with 0 sugar. It is vegan, keto, paleo-friendly, gluten-free. This is the perfect product for athletes or those pretending to be athletes. So it was designed by Rob Wolf. This guy is a crazy smart dude working in the science field, was developing for his own use in athletics, and he came up with the perfect formula. This stuff's awesome. This right here, the citrus salt, is my favorite. Of course, you can get it in a sample pack like this where you can try some different flavors, watermelon, orange, raspberry. Great stuff. Cannot recommend this enough. If you are racing, even at a local level, and sweating at all, which, come on, we all do on a dirt bike, you've got to have some of this stuff to replenish it right. Give it a try. Like I said, go to our bio on Instagram. You can find a discount code or a link that takes you directly to there, and we'll give you a free sample. Check it out. You're not going to want to miss that. Support these guys. They are fans of the sport, and we are so stoked to be partnered with them. Element is an incredible product that I use exclusively, and I'm so proud to have them part of the Whiskey Throttle Show. Pro Circuit is the leader in aftermarket performance and quality. Whether you're looking for a little more horsepower out of your engine, some quality hard parts to improve the way your bike feels and looks, better handling through suspension or linkage arms, Pro Circuit is where you need to stop. It's your one-stop shop. You can go in there and get everything you need to make your motorcycle go from average to exceptional. Pro Circuit's got enough number 1 plates on their wall to side an entire home, and there's a reason for that. They're very, very good at what they do. The highest quality products with one goal in mind, and that's winning. Check out ProCircuit.com. If you are in the market for a new vehicle, look no further than Toyota of Redlands. You got to support a brand that is supporting motocross big time. At the amateur level, pro level, they are part owners in the Bar X Yamaha racing team. They support a ton of riders individually, and they support us here at Whiskey Throttle Media. And I'll tell you what, the facility up there in Redlands is absolutely incredible. It's beautiful. The folks are friendly. They're professional. And if you've never owned a Toyota, you got to give it a try. It is the only brand that I'll drive anymore. If you're buying, there's nothing more reliable, nothing that holds its resale value better. And the folks at Toyota of Redlands are just they still remember what customer service is. I guess that's all I really need to say. Incredibly friendly, professional, and just talented staff up there. We're stoked to have them a part of the show. If you see the Whiskey Throttle truck around here, the Toyota of Redlands Tundra, give us a wave and a honk. But man, just so stoked to have these guys on board. Like I said, anybody like that that's getting involved and supporting the sport, we just want to push as many people as we can to them, because those folks are rare, and especially when they have an incredible product and provide an incredible service. So get up to Toyota of Redlands, California. If you're anywhere in southern United States, southwest United States, it's worth the drive. Get over there, check those guys out. Tell them the Whiskey Throttle crew sent you. On-switch device, something that was much needed in this sport. They've been innovating and bringing new products to market. Their latest is the new Nihilo Run Cool brake pistons. They're designed to be stronger than stock and provide exceptional cooling performance with less brake drag. Most OEM calipers pistons are made from aluminum that just can't hold up to the heat and extreme demands of serious racing. When they get hot, the aluminum will distort, causing loss of hydraulic pressure and brake failure. Nihilo's Run Cool pistons limit the area that boiling hot hydraulic fluid is able to come in contact with the piston, leaving 2/3 of the piston volume in open air with breather holes to enhance the cooling ability. It's made of a proprietary stainless blend, which is better at dissipating heat. You have issues with brake fade or brake failure, check out Nihilo Concepts among their many amazing hard parts and carbon fiber parts and titanium. NihiloConcepts.com. Seat Concepts is the leader in motorcycle saddles. If you're looking for a new cover or a new seat entirely, Seat Concepts is the place to go. They make custom seat foams catered to your height, weight, riding ability, riding type. They also have waterproof covers and foams that will not break down if you ride in a lot of inclement weather. And they pride themselves on being much more comfortable than OEM or any other aftermarket company. If you're looking for a new seat or a new cover, Seat Concepts, there's nothing better. Guys, I want to introduce you to Rockform, and a sponsor of the Whiskey Throttle Show here that has just been blowing my mind with their products. They've got all kinds of, started as phone cases. This is their rugged phone case here that I've got, which is just bulletproof. You could throw this thing out of an airplane, probably pick it up and be just fine. And on the back here, everything is magnetic, so it'll just stick to anything metallic, obviously. But this little locking device you've got in the back, this bolts onto handlebar mounts, car mounts, adhesive mounts, magnetic mounts, and it does not come off. It is locked in. I have no fear that my phone is going to pop off a handlebar on a street bike ride. And then I like the little sport ring they've got. They've got all kinds of devices that pop in here, but this thing acts as a stand. If you want to sit this thing up and watch something on your phone or work on it, just absolutely incredible. And this is magnetic as well. All kinds of amazing products, guys, for your phone. Kind of that's their primary function. They also have the G-Rock speaker. This is basically made for golf, and you just stick it to the frame of your golf cart and get after it. Got great tunes all day long. So a ton of products, but check out our boys at Rockform. These guys are killing it. I'm so stoked to be partnered with this brand. You know, we really pride ourselves on partnering with elite brands, really, really high-level companies, and Rockform is right on cue. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look at elite brands, really, really high-level companies, and Rockform is right on cue. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look no further than Prix. These guys aim to make everything OEM quality or better at an affordable price. And they've also got some new products coming. So right now, chains, sprockets, anything inside the engine internally, air filters. If it wears out, Prix makes it, and they make it at a quality level that's OEM or better. And they've got some new things coming that are awesome. A complete engine rebuild kits for the Polaris RZR 800s. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look no further than Prix. These guys aim to make everything OEM quality or better at an affordable price. And they've also got some new products coming. So right now, chains, sprockets, anything inside the engine internally, if it wears out, Pro X makes it, and they make it at a quality level that's OEM or better. All right, so you had a tip over in the garage or at the track and you broke your lever off. What are you going to do? Go to Arc Levers, guys. They're the only people you need to check out in this space. Arc Levers, everything manufactured right here in the United States to craftsman precision. The stuff is awesome. Whether you're looking for an entire clutch perch with maybe a bigger wheel, they make the wheel super easy to find and adjust. Or maybe you just want replacement levers. They do that as well. Anything you're after, they can change the throw, the feel, everything you want, custom. They can make them feel different, look different colors. These guys are dialed, man. They've got all kinds of cool products. If you haven't been over to Arc Levers and seen what they've got, check them out. These guys are being run by factory Honda. If they're good enough for Jet Lawrence, I think you and I can probably make them work. The Star Racing Yamaha team, a lot of factory riders running them for good reason. They're the best products in the business. Check out Arc Levers. The Whiskey Throttle Show is presented by Motorsport.com. It doesn't matter if you like to pull a throttle cable on a dirt bike, street bike, side by side. Motorsport.com is putting riders first with parts, gear, and accessories, including some of our partners like Troy Lee Designs, Dunlop, Pro Circuit, and more. They offer first returns free on apparel so you can buy with confidence. And Motorsport.com offers fast, free shipping on all orders over $79. Make your next ride your best ride. Visit Motorsport.com. Every good podcast show has got to have an underwear sponsor, right? Well, we went right to the top, Ethica. These guys make the best underwear. If you haven't tried a pair, you don't know what you're missing. Your life hasn't even started yet. So try a pair of Ethicas on. Go to Ethica.com. Use our code Whiskey20. Get you 20% off. And give all of your nether regions a break, man. It's vacation time for the boys. These things are comfortable. You're riding. Your butt's not going to get all chafed. These things are awesome. And guess what? They don't just make underwear. No. Tees, hats, beanies, sweatshirts, shorts for kids, ladies, toddlers, old people, everybody. You name it. They make them. You know what else they make? Moto gloves. I didn't even know that. I just found it out. So get over to Ethica.com. Check them out. These guys are awesome. Whiskey20. Use our code. Don't cheat me now. Get 20% off and put your buns in the best undies around. Ethica.com. All right, the sun is shining. That means you guys need to find yourself a good pair of sunglasses and look no further than Rockwell. These guys are making some incredible shades right now. They're all designed here in the USA, made in Italy. Very, very high-end craftsmanship on these things. They've got so many different models for men's and women's styles. There's floatable glasses, so if you're out on a lake, on a boat somewhere this summer, go out, find yourself a pair of the floatable ones. They've also got wireframe. They've got wraparound. Anything you're after, any style, Rockwell makes it. We are also working on a motocross goggle that is going to be insane. We are in the development stages of that. I'm helping them with that, as is Justin Hill and a couple other guys. So stay tuned for that. That's coming. They also make all kinds of casual wear. Rockwell is getting it done in all kinds of markets. But the sunglasses, whoo, these things are next level. Check them out, Rockwell.com.
The inspiration for Element, interestingly, was from working with my coaches. I sat down with those guys. I'm like, hey, here's what I'm doing. What should I do? And they looked at everything and they were like, you need more electrolytes, specifically sodium. And like most people do when they have a coach, I ignored what their advice was. And kind of like, well, I salt my food, I'm probably good. And it took me at least a year to finally listen to these guys and do what they asked me to do. And it was just a switch flip. It was just so obvious that this was the critical missing piece to the story. And it's ironic that this salt piece was like the linchpin, the keystone to making all the rest of that work.
You guys know how particular I am about who we partner with on this show. And when the Nano Extreme folks came to me wanting to join the program, I definitely had to give it some time to try it. And I've been dealing with a lot of knee pain and obviously just the bumps and bruises that come along with being an old motocross guy. And this stuff legit works. And in fact, so well, I had to kind of dig in and find out why. And in talking with one of their formulators, there is a component called capsaicin. It's actually the component that's found in chili peppers that makes them spicy, makes them so hot. And that actually blocks the nerve signals that send pain signals through them, along with DMSO and arnica and some other things that are just naturally anti-inflammatory. There's a bunch of essential oils and camphor and menthol, which make it kind of feel cool or hot or however your sensation reads it. But at the end of the day, regular use of this works. Like, it legit works. And so I cannot recommend this stuff enough. If you guys have arthritis like I do, or if you've just, working out hard and you've got a lot of muscle soreness, this will help. Maybe you're sitting in a chair all day and you've got pain in between your shoulder blades. Doesn't matter. Joint pain, this stuff will help you, I promise. Use it regularly. Follow the instructions. You don't want to get this stuff around your eyes or in sensitive areas because it will definitely burn a bit, but definitely works. Really stoked on this product and proud to be partnered with Nano Extreme. Check them out. And use our code WT26 to get yourself a discount when ordering.
The Specialized Science Club introduces the Levo 4. An electric mountain bike so advanced, it borders on sorcery. Together, you and the Levo 4 become a harmonious hybrid of organic and synthetic. It's a rider-enhancing machine that transforms you into a cycling cyborg. 720 watts of power and 111 Newton meters of torque, amplifying your mortal muscles, allowing you to bend space and time to your will. All channeled through futuristic suspension, with honed geometry, granting super control while traversing extreme terrain at hyper speed. With supernatural power delivery, you'll have super traction to conquer climbs where others spin out. And you'll tire, if at all, before the bike does. Thanks to the Levo 4's super range.
Thanks for checking out the Whiskey Throttle Show. If you guys liked it, be sure to like and subscribe so you get notified anytime we have a new show go up. You can also go over to whiskeythrottlemedia.com and check out all of the content, new bike builds, new bike introductions. We've got all kinds of features in the moto and off-road space, as well as all of the current Whiskey Throttle shows listed there. You can find our YouTube channel to get a complete list by season of all the shows we've done, well over 100 at this point. And also follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, like, subscribe, comment, all that junk. We'll see you guys. Welcome back, guys, and a huge thank you to Gary Semics for taking the time to come in. He is certainly got a spot in motocross history as one of only 2 500 Supercross champions, multiple 500 national winner, and then also going over to the GPs and getting podiums over there, and just definitely has a spot in the sports history. And even what he's done post-racing with coaching, starting with McGrath and everybody else he's worked with, just very well respected, and for good reason. Great dude. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. As always, we appreciate all the support you guys give us as we bring these to you. Please use our code WT26 with all of our partners. We are trying to promote that and push that so that they know we're doing a good job for them and we can keep bringing you these shows. So thanks as always. Lots of good stuff coming. Have a great weekend. See you guys later.